Okay. Okay. Give me 2 seconds to unsend a message. Can you unsend message? So just don't listen to this if you're here. Can you unsend messages on Android phones?
Allegedly.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I
I
don't.
wouldn't
You
risk it.
can delete them, but I don't know like if it actually
Deletes on the
does it
other
in a
end.
timely manner on the other person's end.
Yeah, because you still get the notification. I think the messages might get deleted and it says somebody unsent it. Okay, so now also. Okay, so now I need to just post this one thing, and then we should be good.
So that means my watch is off too.
This ninja has just been thinking everything is like the same. Oh, that's what I'm looking forward to. Wait, where did I save it? See, this is why it's good to
It
check.
passed.
Because I'm looking forward to, yes, you guessed it, another show. And I'm ready to get my heart broken again. Where is it? Dang it. Oh,
What?
I know. I remember it now. Good. Dang. That was me, sorry. Okay, good. All right. Now I can continue here.
Too easy.
Give me the link. Okay, nice. Okay. Quick sound check, Ace. Everything sound good?
Check. How do I sound? Do I sound okay?
You sound
Yup.
fine. Um, do you have to lean in when you ever talk? Should just be in like more comfortable location?
Uh, I can't. I can't help it, but also, um, I can't get this microphone any closer to my face.
Okay.
Besides, if I held it, so
All right, just making sure. Oh, maybe you have to figure out some logistics. Ghost, how do you sound?
Test, test, test. Check.
Sounds good to me. And then, how do I sound? Do I sound all right? And is the volume acceptable?
sounds
Yup.
good.
Perfect. Okay. Let's go here then. And let's start the show. Oh, make sure that the YouTube thing is looking all right too when you get a chance. Hey, some of the boards look a little rough, but it's all good. Okay. All right. Oh, I gotta hit the recording. Okay, we're live and we're recording. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back, everyone, to the Be Warmed and Be Filled podcast. You can see it right across your screen. We're back. We're back. We have not everyone here, but we have the guys, the gang, the crew. We have Ace.
So,
We got Ghost.
Yo.
And we got myself, Quest, Lando. Guys, how y'all doing? How y'all feeling?
Pretty great.
Great. Mm. I'm decent.
Nice, nice. And as for myself, I'm feeling pretty all right too. As time of recording, it's like mid March, and we're just crawling out of. We're not crawling out of anything. It's still depending on the time of day. Cold, rainy, windy, all that jazz. But some of it during the day, it's been uber nice, and that sun and the warmth definitely boosts your spirits and your morale. Plus, I got the what's homeboy? Plus, I got a fresh Travis Kelsey, so I'm feeling good about myself.
God, that better
Yes.
not become a thing. Oh my goodness.
But I digress. To get some of the quick podcast intro stuff out the way. So, of course, this is B1 B-Fill podcast. You already know that. And one of the things that you get by tuning into our podcast is if you're in search or looking for new music, we provide that. In the description below, you'll find a Spotify playlist with our song selections of the week. If you're looking for new artists, new songs, some bangers, go check that out. And after the podcast, we'll also just have a list of the records so you can actually just see the new music that we've stumbled upon this week or the previous weeks. In the description below, you can also find the timestamps after we're done with the live stream. And if you want to just consume our shorter versions of our content on the channel, if you go to the videos tab, you can find our videos of the Spice Up topic videos. You can just consume those at your leisure or pleasure, whatever the expression is. But what also you sometimes get here before we actually jump into the topics and everything else. Sometimes we like to mix things up, and we're an advice podcast, quote unquote. But we also are, consumers of content ourselves. And recently we did a nice outing, and we saw probably what's going to be one of the best ones of the year. But let me stop. Let me gas it up right too quick. We saw Dune 2. So we're going to give a nice spoiler-free, warm review. What did y'all think about it? What would y'all say? What's y'all review? What do you think it goes?
I mean, kind of predictably thought it was excellent. Part one was one of the best movies of what was that, 2021? I don't remember exactly what year it came out, but it was a great movie. I have read the books or the book that it was based off of, and I felt like part one was pretty much I don't know about one to one, but a pretty faithful adaptation. Part two, I think, made some changes that enhanced it, but if you weren't a book reader, just looking at it independently of that, I mean, it's a fantastic movie regardless. Like the score was great, cinematography. There's a lot of things that kind of made me, I don't know about if nostalgic is the right word, but if you're into like uh 80s fantasy and like that gothic art that was on like every single fantasy cover, it was very reminiscent of that in a lot of ways and tone, and it reframed a couple of things in the book that I didn't really love in a positive way, on top of just being a great movie by itself. So yeah, highly recommend. I was expecting it to be great, and it was. So go watch it if you haven't.
Dope. What about you, Ace? What'd you think of the film?
So, as someone who absolutely loved the book, I've read the first, second, and third books, and me and Ghost kind of like it for
Wait, hold on.
different.
Didn't somebody say it's one book? No, he said first, second, and third. What's going on here?
There's a lot of books, but I've read the first three.
Okay,
Um,
sorry.
Yeah,
May I be
I only
sure?
read
the
the
movie
first
is based on
one,
the
but
first.
the movies are based off of the first one book.
Yeah,
Oh, so they're gonna make movies based off all the books?
they're gonna do one more.
Yeah, I don't know about all of them.
Why would
Yeah,
they not keep? Why would they not keep the gravy train rolling?
Yeah, and yeah, no spoilers. We can't go into that.
Oh shit. Sorry.
But yeah, so I was just saying, I think me and Ghost kind of like the story for a bit different reasons. So um and just like a heads up, I've watched the movie twice now, and
Doing
on
two?
yeah, yeah, I've seen it twice.
I'm
Ninjas be
about to go
watching
see it again
movies.
this week too. So it's
Nice.
that good.
Yeah. So yeah, as somebody who like really enjoyed everything about the books, on my first watch, I was kind of apprehensive about some of the bigger changes they made to the story, but going into it again and kind of accepting that the story changes that they made are kind of to compress what is a very expansive and complex plot from the books into something that can fit into the movies. Um, Even given that the movies are a total 5 hours, they still could not fit everything. So I think that's part of the reason why some of the changes that were made, and also to kind of ground it in a more realistic setting that works for movies than where the book goes. So yeah, once I accepted that, um, it allowed me on my second watch to enjoy the movies, enjoy the that second movie a lot more. But yeah, still like even outside of those gripes, it is like an incredible watch. Um, the the first movie, I know some people didn't like because it's a lot of setup for something that there is some payoff, but there's still quite a bit that's left to develop in the second movie, and really get that full payoff. So but yeah, the second movie is the payoff. So anybody who, even if you had that gripe about the first movie, you didn't really like it, it was too whatever, too slow, too like all of all of that goes out the window with the second movie. So I highly recommend.
Yeah, I'm not gonna cap. I think you kind of summed it up really well. I don't have too much more to add. Yeah, I wouldn't say like I didn't like the first one, but I think your description of like some of the things in the first one, I'm like kind of not really following. What's the point of all this? And there's just a lot being set up, like you said. But then the second one just kind of fully delivered. Um, and yeah, I mean, I love sci-fi, so I'm there was no reason why I shouldn't have liked it, and the main reason why I shouldn't have liked it because um I like a specific type of not a specific. I like a nice clean cut. You got a protagonist. He goes through some struggle. He wins. He saves the day, and there's a good and happy ending. I'm basically like that. Um, and I'm not saying that didn't happen in this, but there's a lot more going on. Um, so yeah, the moral of the story is I really truly enjoy that, and I can't wait to see the next one. But yeah, so you got starting to see that's going on watching it twice. So if you haven't seen it or you have any reason not you still have any doubts, go watch it.
In
um
IMAX too. The second one time was in IMAX. First
Yeah,
first
that's a
IMAX
strap.
experience. Incredible.
Really? That was your first one?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
nice. Okay, dope. So I guess that would obviously kind of count as a content recommendation, but like we always like to do on this podcast, we like to give other content recommendations outside of music. So, is there anything that we have to share this week in particular?
Yeah, I got another movie. This so the movie's called Past Lives. It's was not produced by A24 or whatever, distributed. Um, it's about these two childhood friends slash sweethearts who they reconnect in like their 20s online. Um, and it's like a long distance relationship. It can't really go anywhere because of um, the long distance, and then they reconnect again later in life. And it's the movie kind of just explores their relationship with each other, and like how they've kind of like grown into separate people, and just from like a very realistic standpoint, um explores, I think, something that maybe kind of common that people go through, whether it's, with a relationship with somebody, or just, even with a friendship, like people, growing into different people and growing apart, and navigating that throughout life. So I found it to be a very, I don't know, like compelling way to tell like what could have been a kind of tropey love triangle type film.
I'm about to
But
say, what's the genre of this? Romantic dramedy?
yeah, that's perfect. Like romantic drama is probably the best way to put it. Um, but yeah, it was very, very well done, very maturely done. So if if so, for some reason you find yourself wanting to watch
How
something
did
like
you
that,
bump into this? I missed that.
I mean, I pretty much check for anything A24 puts out. So
Oh, got you.
yeah.
Got you. Dope. Anything else?
Yeah.
This definitely
Nope.
isn't a recommendation on my end. It no way this counts at all because I haven't seen this. But I got a question. Yeah, that's off the record. So my apologies if this creates any level of discussion. Y'all came on here and come on here a lot and talk about how much y'all enjoyed the Spider-Man across the Spider-Verse movies or whatever you classify those movies as, right?
Yep.
Yep.
So this year slash last year, the Oscars, who cares about Oscars? Just like Grammys, lol, or any other award shows, lol. They said that the best animated film was this movie called The Boy and the Heron, and it was in the same category as the Spider-Man thing. So I'm not even necessarily saying I'm not saying anyone's wrong, right, or the other, but I guess basically what I want to say is, can y'all go watch this Boy and the Heron movie and report back?
I actually am gonna watch it because it's uh what's a studio?
Studio Ghibli.
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 Yeah. So yeah, I am actually gonna watch it, but
And
I don't really care about award
if
shows.
you happen to think
But
it's slightly better than other movies that you may have said were some of the best movies, I would love for you to admit that on record. Yes.
I mean, it won't be. But I'm still gonna watch it. But it's not gonna be better than Spider Verse. Not.
Okay. I
I think
mean,
it possibly could be for me, so I'll definitely check it out. I'm not
all
gonna.
right. That's all I ask. But if there's nothing else, then we can get right into the topics. It feels as if it's been a while since we, came on here and podcasted and went over topics and deep dived on stuff. So it might be a bit rusty, but at the same time, not spoiler. Just heads up, I'm feeling a bit unhinged tonight. I know that's kind of a wild thing to say, but sometimes I'll see a story, and like I said, I'll try to keep it short. Like I always say, you know, definitely sometimes use a podcast to like get out some of the thoughts that I think about when I see stories sometimes. So me not podcasting borrows things up, and you know it's good for everybody. And speaking of things that we want to get off our heart, off our chest. Ooh, let me actually go to the right thing. One thing I've been really wanting to get off my heart, get off my chest is giving a rest and power and salute to the entire whole legend, Akira Toriyama, the literal creator of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball content as we know. Yes, obviously we know the brother passed at this point, probably a few weeks ago at this point, but the first time we were recording since, so we got to give our salutes, rest in power, condolences to the family, so on and so forth. But similar to like how in certain let me speak with grace. Similar to how like when legends that have impacted our lives in some sort of way, we're not just coming out here to say we're how we're sad and cry and none of that. We're here to give a salute and how their content has like impacted our lives, so to speak. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't know about y'all, but you know, me, I'm not gonna say I'm like super cold hearted, but I would say like a lot of times when people like some level of fame when they pass, I don't feel all too um affected just because I'm a bit that doesn't affect me as much as it does other people. But there are some people that when they pass, you do start to think about all the things that they've done and how it did affect your life, how it shaped your life. And I think this was definitely an example. So much so that like a lot of content creators in like the anime space or anime adjacent, they did their tributes. And I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't really able to consume them, if that makes sense. Just because it's like it's still kind of unfathomable to me that like such a iconic manga author and artist like is like no longer with us. It's like kind of spooky still, but I just say that to say now getting off my chest is definitely that relief that you kind of been holding, and it's definitely they definitely deserve a lot of props and praises. So I'm glad that the community and everybody's still been giving them their celebration and props. So yeah, I guess real quick, we don't have to stay on this all night. I guess just real quick, what would y'all say? I mean, you can say anything you want, but what would y'all say is like when you think of Dragon Ball Z, maybe any of the series following afterwards? What would you say was like some of the key moments that you will always remember, or just like based off what this brother has created in general? Start with you, Ace.
Yeah. So yeah, first off, like Dragon Ball Z, I think I'm pretty sure that's the first anime I ever watched. And this was before any of us knew what anime was. It just we saw these cartoons on Toonami, and we thought they were just cool cartoons that Toonami played, but no other channel really played cartoons like them. But but yeah, and that was like in elementary school, probably second grade. So what jumps to memory as like the top, what some of the top moments, I guess, is starting out in the I started when I started watching. I think it was in the it must have been in the Frieza saga, and going through that saga, seeing Goku go Super Saiyan for the first time.
Yep.
I remember like I had a friend that we were both into Dragon Ball Z, and we used to call each other when the episodes would come on and just like talk to each other while we were watching it. And yeah, like some of the hype moments like from that saga, like I'll always remember because of that. Um, and then also like outside of the show, playing the hell out of Budokai Tenkaichi
Man, what?
with CJ, with my brother, with Wes. Like that's hours and hours of memories. Like just yeah, great times. So.
True indeed, man. Mug and Cat, you kind of stole my main memory. Like for me, and like obviously the show was just like you described. Like it was really the first anime that we like knew was this was a different type of content. This wasn't no like SpongeBob SquarePants. Like this was like action focused. Like the fights, the way the show ran, it was different. And like you mentioned, I think the games definitely had that really hold on me and us as a kid. And it started even like wasn't that like one of the games they played a lot like at Sabbath Service, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, yeah, yep, yep.
Like it's just always been like, hey, like Dragon Ball Z Budokai is like there and it's like it. So yeah, that was definitely like I put many hours behind that. Um, but sorry, what about you, Ghost? What's some of the key things that you remember from Dragon Ball Z, the world of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, and so on and so forth?
Well, full disclosure, I never really got into Dragon Ball for whatever reason. Like, I've watched maybe 5 episodes total of the anime and never read the manga. So, I don't really know why, but it just never, I don't know, it's the error for me. But I'm not like I know the characters, I know the impact that it had in general on the culture, but I wasn't like super into it. But I still do like have memories of being pretty young and just watching a couple episodes late night, Toonami, watching random fights on YouTube that again I didn't really know the characters, but the fights are hype as hell. So that was enough. And yeah, I mean again, obviously it had a huge impact on anime in general. And I could cheat and say that all the anime that I've watched since then, it kind of was popularized in America in big part because of Dragon Ball Z. So it had a positive impact on me that way. But yeah, regardless, I mean, rest in peace. He's definitely a legend. But again, I don't have all those core memories per se, but it still had an impact.
Gotcha. And yeah, I mean, like you said, like it definitely feels it really paved the way, like the popularity that it gained from like a Western audience. Definitely, hey, if that's working, bring everything else over. Like bring the subs, the dubs, and it just really blew up. And really, yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah. So I feel as if even if you didn't like quote unquote grow up with it, or well, you weren't checking for it like every weekend or weekday day in and day out, you definitely consume products of it or consumed things that are adjacent to it. And even up into even like all the movies throughout the years, some of those hit super hard. Even like up until recently, we were out in games playing like Dragon Ball Fighter Z. Like it's just such a like an IP that's so damn iconic. And yeah, honestly, it's this is like the definition of like what I it's corny, I know, but like when I say like rest in power, like the thing that they created is a bit bigger than them themselves. It's like it's something that is like going to be here forever. Like Goku, Vegeta, Super Saiyan, these concepts and ideas, they're not going away ever. But yeah, I digress. Yeah, again, so to the brother, a whole legend, 68. Definitely a long life and a lot of accomplishments. But it just again sounds a bit weird or seems a bit weird. Good stuff. Those to the brother. Makes you almost want to go back and watch all the Dragon Ball Z, but then there's like Super and GT and all that, and it's a bit much. But
I
still,
mean, to be honest, the only reason I haven't yet is because of it not being on like a very accessible streaming service.
really,
Yeah,
you got a pirate and all type of nonsense.
yeah, and it's just Dragon Ball Z. Like Dragon Ball, you can find GT, you can find Super, you can find, but
Damn,
Dragon Ball Z is
the
hard to
popping one.
find.
All right, fair enough. Well, maybe we'll come back here and one day do a whole Dragon Ball Z review for y'all. But you know, again, rest in power. Let's move on. Pardon me. Where is the first one? Not the first one, but oh my god. If you need to laugh after some sad stuff, this is more like a what the f type of story. Whenever you think we live in a super ultra like realistic world, no, sometimes there's some things that happen that's just like, oh, is this real? So the shade room. They reported Chinese woman reportedly decided to leave her $2.8 million fortune to her pets. Yes, you heard right. Her pets. Says her children didn't visit her even when she was ill. An elderly woman in China decided to leave for, like you said, $2.8 million fortune to her cats and dogs instead of her children. According to the report, the woman, who was only identified by her surname, Louis Yao, my bad, had initially included her three children in a will she had made a few years back. She reportedly left them money and property, but changed her mind, saying the children did not take care of her when she was sick and don't make an effort to contact her. She recently changed her will and insisted that all her money must be used to take care of her pets and any of their offsprings. Okay, after she dies, a local veterinary clinic has reportedly been appointed as the administrator of the inheritance and is responsible for taking care of the animals. I don't know anything about nothing, but I hope what they use some of that money to get security, because I feel as if there's a target on that clinic. But
Gonna be holding the animals for ransom.
man, yeah, I don't even really know. I guess what do y'all make of this? Do y'all I want to say do y'all believe it, but I guess you can get if you get a good lawyer, you can get anything done, huh? Do y'all think it's valid that this woman changed up her will like this? Or do you think no matter what you can't be petty and leave it all to your pets? You gotta give it up to your children. What do you think, Ghost?
Well, to be honest, I don't have an issue at all with her changing up the will. I do think now I'm always of the mind that animals and pets should never come before actual people. So I mean, donate to a charity would be my preference over
Mm-hmm.
some animals because again, I don't care if animals live or die.
You didn't have pets
But
growing up, didn't you?
I had a pet fish.
Okay, you see,
I
I
mean, I get a
feel
lot
as
of people
I
think of pets as
feel as
little
if like
children, and
when you have a pet growing up, you think of it as family.
oh my god, yeah, yeah. Well, no matter what people say, that it's like the pets are like your babies, blah blah blah. Pets are not more important than humans. But
Maybe you should
that
get a pet.
aside, what do you say?
Maybe you should get a pet.
I ain't getting no pet. Even if I do, again, a pet is not on the level of a person. But that's kind of beside the point. So
But you don't know because you never experienced it.
again, I have my pet fish.
No, I'm talking about a dog, a thing that's going to like
Yeah,
look you in the
yeah.
eye every day, look at you for food,
Smelly
resources,
animal
love.
that you gotta take care of their
You see, you see,
crap
you
and
see.
walk and all things. But me being a pet hater aside, I don't have a problem with her doing this because so I've had the stance in the past on like from children dealing with parents. If your parents aren't being proper parents, you shouldn't have an obligation to them and feel like you have to do things for them just because you're related and just because you feel like you're supposed to. And the same thing kind of goes for children. Like your children, it's like a kind of unconditional thing. You take care of them when they can't take care of themselves. But once you get to a certain age, like if your children are showing that they don't have any care or desire to put you or be around you, and there isn't like extenuating circumstances like you were abusing them or something when they were younger, it's like I kind of get it if you feel like you're being ignored, or maybe she was calling them, leaving them messages, and they just didn't pick up, didn't come to visit her at all. I'm for not giving them that reward in the form of that money because you're not actively doing something to hurt them, but at the same time you're not giving them something extra that they they didn't care about you when you were alive, so they're not going to care about you when you're dead, really. And that
Mm,
might be a little harsh
damn,
to say,
it's kind of a
but
bar, but it isn't harsh.
yeah, it's like if she had done this for like just to give it to other family members or something, I think maybe she if she didn't have any extended family or anything like that, I'm okay with this, even if it is to animals. The fact that it's she said to take care of the offspring too is kind of crazy, but hey, it's her money, I guess. The logistics are kind of interesting too, and like I don't know who's gonna be the executor of the state. What does it say? The
The
veterinary
gift,
clinic.
yeah, the
Yeah.
gift to the
So
clinic.
yeah, as long they might be a little. I don't know about all that spending and how
Yeah, that's what I'm
liable they're
saying. Like, I
being,
wonder who's
but
keeping charge of keeping track of the spending.
yeah, upgrading that clinic and get a little hot tub. I don't know about all that, but that aside, I think I'm okay with this. I understand it.
Jeez, fair enough. You did kind of mention something interesting in there. It is kind of a question mark. What circumstances created like a life in which the kids wouldn't visit them when they were sick? Like, nobody here has perfect parents, but I'm assuming if we find that our parents, especially our rich parents, were sick, we're probably rushing to their aid.
Yeah, I mean, there could be a few different things. Like it could be again, maybe she wasn't the best parent growing up, and there was some level of abuse or trauma that was inflicted, and because of that, didn't. She may not have realized it or known
That's
the.
interesting. If you did receive that level of abuse where you wouldn't visit them when they're ill, would you even care about the fact that they're not leaving you money, or do you want the money no
I
matter
mean,
what?
yeah, I mean, honestly, we didn't even get the children's perspective on it, so maybe they don't care. Which I mean, everyone cares about money to an extent,
Yeah.
but it's like that could be one thing. It could just be maybe it's not malicious, but maybe it's just like you're wrapped up in your own life and you just think, oh, I'll go visit her sometime. I'll go visit her later, and you're not
When your
really.
mom's sick though, mom's.
I know. Again, I'm not excusing it. It's definitely like I could never imagine myself doing something like this, but if it's if they had that type of mindset where it's like they didn't really care enough, it is what it is. Like I can't excuse it. I can't really like people get wrapped up in a lot of stuff, but you should make time. And if you were being a good person, it's kind of what you would do. But I don't know.
I don't
People
know.
are. It comes down to what your priorities are.
I don't know. What about you, Ace? What do you think of the story? If you are you rocking with this elderly woman? If you had kids and they didn't visit you, are you giving your fortune, your inheritance to the pets?
It's difficult to for me to put myself in the shoes of the elderly person. I don't know if I necessarily would do this, but at the same time, I do not fault this person for this decision just based on the headline. Um, I mean, it makes sense like to me that if the
What
children,
about unconditional love from a parent?
well, she could love them, but they just didn't get the money.
That's not love.
Money's not love.
But providing resources is.
I mean, yeah, come on now. Be serious. Like,
Hmm?
you can say that, but like, I might be biased because of my gift giving
Wait, what are you
tendencies.
talking
But
about?
you said money isn't love.
Yeah, like you can. I mean, it's a punishment. Like she's punishing the children. She love them, but you still get punished.
That's like if you punish your
Mm,
children by not providing them a roof over their head. It's part of the love.
No, no,
no,
they
I
don't
think it's
need the
it's
money.
different. It's
It's
different
like
than that.
not giving your children allowance.
I think I think to frame it in the way I'm looking at it, not giving them the money isn't not love, but giving them the money would be showing love. It's kind of a
Okay,
weird distinction, but that's kind of how I look at it.
gotcha.
Because yeah, it's money is money. Like it's kind of a
Yeah,
better way to. I don't want to say that, but
yeah. I don't necessarily think we got from this headline that the mother didn't love the children.
yeah,
She
yeah, yeah,
was
yeah, yeah, yeah.
definitely disappointed and probably heartbroken that they didn't visit her in her in her later years and didn't
Yeah.
maintain a relationship, especially through illness. Um, so yeah, I mean, I don't think it's unfathomable that. this would be seen not necessarily as like, she hates the children, but you didn't visit me. Like, you, this is the last lesson I can give you. Like,
Damn.
Yo, that's kind of that's I like that. I like the way I like that frame. Yeah,
But then you give it to the pets. The pets
I
didn't
like
have a
that. I
choice
like
in the
that.
matter to be there. The pets were just there because they're pets.
and it's part of the lesson.
Damn.
I like that. I like that.
You know why this story is so crazy? Is because I don't know if you're fake old. Remember a show that was on Nickelodeon, Cat Scratch.
Yeah.
This is
Yo,
literally
that's a
the
dope one.
story of this is literally the story of the show. Like somebody that passed away and left a fortune to their literal cats.
Wow, I forgot
But
about
I
that.
forgot about
digress.
that show, bro. Oh my
Um,
goodness.
what was I gonna say? Oh, yeah, you guys. I don't know if you're right because this is kind of like wherever your morality lies. But I will say, the interesting part about me when I look at this, I always say one of the reasons why you gotta have kids, even though I know a lot of people in the day don't want to have kids, is because when we get old, and we're all gonna get old, you're gonna want somebody there that, because you provided that unconditional love, they in return want to make sure you're straight when you get older. You don't want to just end up like in a nursing home and have people that are only taking care of you because you're getting a paycheck. You want to have people that are actually by your side that actually love you. So seeing this kind of stuff is kind of heartbroken, because it's like, well, again, we don't know the circumstances behind it. They could have had a terrible childhood, and they could have every right and reason to not be there. But if you don't apply any of that or sign any of that, like, you have children. Not you. Not This is not the main purpose. This is just a biological, for survival thing that we inherently do. But you have children, and you try to do your best, and then when you're older, you think they'll be there for you. So when it doesn't happen, that's kind of unfortunate. But I guess there are some lessons to gain from this. Obviously, parents love your kids unconditionally, and children be there for your parents. You might miss out on a literal couple meals.
That shouldn't be the moral of the reason, but it helps.
Um, but I digress. If there's nothing else, we can move on. This is supposed to just be relatively light, so I don't think there's anything else to deep dive. We can move on to the next topic. Now, before we move on, oh, you knew that was the sec. Wow, you're good. Before we move on, I think I was hearing an echo again. And last time we identified it is you, Ghost.
Uh I
Hold on.
forgot. God.
Hold on, let me go here first.
What do I have to do? I have to get my headphone.
I just read this title.
Oh, what do you mean? What's funny?
She's beaming like
This is 2024. I don't want to say wokeism, because really I feel as if the person that coined wokeism was GLC, or he just coined ism as a general. But anyway, let us know when you're straight, Ghost.
All right, I'm good.
Cool. Okay, let me get back to where we should be. Nice. Can you zoom in on that a bit? We're not used to having Reddit posts up in there, even though Reddit's probably every topic that we ever talk about probably ends up on Reddit somewhere. Okay, so, man, I came across this. I was watching a stream. I forget who, and they were talking about this. And obviously, it's just so kind of laughable. I think they only spent like a good, cool minute on it. But on this podcast, we deep dive topics. We really get to matter and the root of it. I'm mostly just talking, but I will admit, I'm joking, but there's gonna be some trigger warnings, not from the video, from the conversation. Some unhingedness, some potential unhingedness. So if it gets a little tense, I don't know. Maybe I'm making a mountain out of a molehill. I don't know. But anyway, so if you haven't heard, lead developer of EA's new Black Panther game explains why she doesn't hire white people. What? Play it.
I have a team of 21 right now for Validate. It's a pretty big team. It's a crazy big team for indie games. But who is your team? Validate has a team of mostly all people of color. We have no white people on our team. I did that because I wanted to create a safe environment. And I know the best way for an environment to be safe is to be around people who are just like me. And I'm not saying that white people in the industry are creating unsafe environments. I'm not saying that. That is not what I'm saying. I am saying that sometimes it is hard to work with white people because they think that something made it okay, but it was really a microaggression. And no one wants to deal with that while they're trying to make a game that they love.
Nobody wants to deal with that.
Dog.
We're gonna play it again. Just in case you heard what you misheard what you thought you think misheard what you said. We're gonna play it again. But you know what's funny? the stream I was mentioning that they were talking about. It would actually, I guess we'll play it again right here real quick. They said every time they say white people act like they were of another race and replace it with black people. Play it one more time. Just real quick.
I have a team of 21 right now for Validate. It's a pretty big team. It's a crazy big team for indie games. But who is your team? Validate has a team of mostly all people of color. We have no white people on our team. I did that because I wanted to create a safe environment. And I know the best way for an environment to be safe is to be around people who are
only
just like
people that
me.
look like you.
And I'm not saying that
white
people in the industry are creating unsafe environments. I'm not saying that. That is not what I'm saying. I am saying that sometimes it is hard to work with white people because they think that something made it okay, but it was really a microaggression.
But we don't want to be around
and no one wants to deal with that while they're trying to make a game that they love.
Yes.
The voiceover, my God, bro.
So, yeah, we're obviously all black, brown, whatever you want to say, out around here, but we are very critical and realistic. And I mean, not to be all lives matter BS, but we definitely have friends, family that are white and other races and other nations. So it is kind of interesting hearing somebody double down on something like this. I mean, where do we even begin? I mean, let's just get to the shits. So you have this developer that's working with EA, which is, first of all, EA sucks. I mean, salute to EA, but EA sucks. And I'm surprised but they're still a relatively big company. I'm surprised they're allowed. Well, I don't know if they're allowing this, but I'm surprised this is coming out of. And it's also like a subdivision of EA, but I'm surprised they are involved with this. And their stance is that they want to have a team that's it's relatively similar, and they could have spun this to this it's clean, but their specific rationale is because people of non-colored people they don't make you feel safe. So what can I do? My hands are tied. Why would I hire them? I can't. So obviously, if you look at comments and just across the internet, they're getting a tremendous amount of backlash. But we're not here to just dogpile. We're here to see if there's any validity. So, what do y'all think? Do y'all think there's any even ounce of a point that can be made here, or do you think this is just a full sale bad idea? We'll start with you, Ace. What do you think?
Yeah, you really have to dig deep to find any type of justification, especially for saying this out loud. Um, but I mean, okay, is there any realism to what this person is saying as far as something that she has certainly experienced? Yes, um, quote unquote,
Exactly. We've all experienced microaggressions.
yeah, quote unquote microaggressions. Which do we have a real actual definition of that?
That is kind of what a newer age term. I don't know. You guys are better at looking stuff up than me.
Um, I mean,
Huh?
I think it like the it under that umbrella is like
Microaggression is a term used for a commonplace verbal, behavioral, or environmental slights, whether intentional or unintentional, that communicate hostile, derogatory, or negative attitudes towards stigmatized or culturally marginalized groups.
mhm.
I mean, all I have to say is whenever like someone says, hey, you speak well, or hey, did you do something with your hair, or hey, are you eating like uh what's that you're eating when you're just eating like oxtail and rice or something like that.
Yeah. See, maybe I'm the bad guy because all this stuff is just like I've always looked at it um from the optimistic side of like somebody trying to either make conversation or just in general, and that being the best way they or the quickest way or whatever that they thought to do it.
Well, they said it could
Or
be well, they said it can be unintentional, so it doesn't necessarily
exactly.
have to come from a place of like hostility.
Yeah, especially if it's unintentional. Like I don't I I I would have it I would find it very difficult to take offense to something or to find my or feel unsafe to something that I would assume is unintentional slash a person just trying to get to know somebody to get to know me or whatever.
This is where I kind of feel my unhinged is coming out. Okay, so let's ramp it up because microaggression is obviously a spectrum. What if someone's and we're gonna keep it in the context of an office or workplace. What if someone's lunch went missing in the office, quote unquote missing? They just couldn't find it right off the bat, and then they turn to you and say, "Hey, did you move my lunch?" Would you
No,
feel you wouldn't feel slighted by that?
no, I would say no. But I mean, I can see where you're
Well,
going with it. Like if
what if they asked you that question and you like in a room of full of coworkers and
yeah,
all of them are
yeah,
white
yeah,
and then they only ask you and no one else?
then you can start to see it could feel a little bit more it would definitely feel more intentional if they zero in on me, um especially with no reason.
Well, the
There
reason's
is a reason.
because I
No, I
think
mean
There
no
is a
reason
reason.
outside.
when people think of stealing, ooh, he's stealing.
Yeah, no reason outside the obvious. um yeah, and that's something I've never experienced, but I can give it to her, like if she's experienced it, especially if she's experienced it um commonly, then I can understand where this comes from. So I would say that. Um that's as far as I can go though. Is yes, I understand where it came from. Should it have come out of her mouth though? I still don't think so. Just because of the all of the reasons to the contrary why she shouldn't have said it.
Mhm. Well, let me ask you this. Maybe, obviously, I already know your answer, but maybe you subconsciously do feel maybe some things he's describing. Would you say, all right, sometimes I ask questions and it's like spoons. Would you say you feel safer in environments where people look like you?
No.
Yep, I knew.
No.
That's interesting.
Oh my
Huh.
gosh. So, okay, so if you were, this is also a dumb question. At least some more of it. If you would describe what you would like your ideal workspace or workplace to look like, what are some general? What are some?
Racially?
No, not you don't have to. Just give me an idea. Just paint the picture for me. What are some of your coworkers? What's the demographic of? So
I
This feels
mean,
like a trap, bro.
nah, it's there's no ideal demographic in my mind.
so you'd be fully fine with working with like super old, ancient, like a non like other guys.
Correct, because the most important part is the quality of the work, or the quality of the work slash the when I work.
How your coworkers view and treat you is you can't just your stuff has
No,
to.
no, no, no. But well, um,
But that's not to say
what I'm
that
saying is, yeah, yeah,
the
you're
specific demographic is going to treat you.
exactly,
I know.
exactly.
I know. Listen, I'm not gonna walk myself into. Don't. I know what's going on here. I'm doing the walking. Okay, yeah, I got you. Although I feel if I could press that, maybe like, would you feel comfortable, with all woman environment?
Yes.
Then we're gonna change the sexist to
That was
racist.
that was a fast answer.
Okay, fair enough. So I mean, obviously, she getting a little backlash. You think it's warranted?
Yeah, unfortunately, yes.
Fair
Yeah.
enough. How about you, Ghost? Can you see any saving grace in what they're saying? Do you think they have any legitimacy in what they're saying, or do you think it's really she just tweaking?
Everything that she said, her whole stance on this is how you construct your friend groups. Like if you feel a certain way, I'm not saying if it's right or wrong. I guess that's kind of a cop-out answer. I do think there's some validity to what she says. I don't know about microaggressions and all that, but I mean, there's some things that's like it's true. Like I've experienced some things, and I personally don't care because like I don't care about any of my coworkers really, anyways. So it's if they treat me a certain type of way, it's whatever. Um, but that aside, if you want to have your friends be a certain demographic, if you want all your friends to be black, that's fine. That's cool. You can talk about this with them. But saying this in a work environment on caught in 4K where
Yeah, the
people
fact
can
that they said
regulate this,
they're responsible for the hiring and they
yes.
specifically hired in a certain manner.
Yeah, you're not gonna be responsible for long because you were going to. That's fucking insane. You cannot say that, bro. Like this shit is what all the damn conservative, certain demographic conservative people that like go on about wokeness and all this stuff and get bent out of shape about every which way. That whole stance, I personally think it's like people looking to get victimized. But this is like giving. This is how people conservative these type of conservative people think that all black people in sense or woke liberal. I don't know however you want to classify. That's how they think everyone
Well,
thinks.
hold
So
on now. I mean, what if they just want to have a bit of diversity and inclusion? What's the
no, well, I'm not even saying if it's a right or wrong thing, but saying you can't say it.
the gaming industry is heavily dominated by a specific race of people.
Again, if you want to have this hiring practice, even though I'm gonna be upfront, it's racist.
Yeah,
I'm not
wait.
saying that would I would be opposed to working in an all black environment because I most certainly would not be, but it's racist. Like that is what it is.
Yes.
But this is the same type of racist that when like a Asian person or Indian person or white people, they hire all their type of demographic in a certain field. You can do it, and that's your prerogative. I'm not saying if it's right or wrong, but you cannot say it. It has to be unspoken. Like you can walk around the office and be like, "Damn, there's only black people here. Oh, there's only white people here," but you cannot say it and admit to it out loud because you will be fired. Because I'm pretty sure it's like illegal.
Yes.
Like,
This is let's be
illegal.
very clear. That's the craziest part. That's why when you guys are saying crazy, it's like beyond crazy because this is literally illegal. You
Yeah,
cannot
so
hire or not hire solely based off race. That's no good.
yeah, that's one part of it. And the second part, like going into what she was actually saying, like the reasoning, microaggression stuff, you're fucking soft. Like you're not at a job to have friends or have fun. You're at a job to work.
This is ghost talking.
And if you want to have a hiring practice because of certain things, again, it's you can do what you want.
Well,
But
actually,
I'm just telling you that. Well, yeah,
hold
you
on.
can't. You can't.
Just like I said with the Ace, the way in which you are treated in viewed in your workplace is relevant. Like you can't just act like a person's being soft. It's also like it can impact
Well,
you in your work.
you're soft. Not you, but if come on, like if it's blatant, if it's overt, yeah. But like, come on, now it's
So you're
there's
telling
some
me
things.
if you're
There's
in a
some
work,
things
if you're in an
that
environment where every day they're like questioning, oh, do you use some type of wave grease in your hair? Hey, do you wear Timbs to work? So you sure that's cool? And like, hey, we're going out after work for work together. You wanna we heard there's a new fried chicken spot. You wanna go check that out? You're gonna be cool with all that?
well, for one, I'm I don't. I'm not. I'm in general. When I have coworkers, I don't look at them in. I don't look at them like I want them to be my friends. So if they say something to me, I'm gonna either ignore it or just keep it pushing. I can't say there's definitely some truth to the fact that there's like microaggressions, all this like that's true. Like this, some things that are definitely worse than others, and I'm not here to like just shit all over that viewpoint and say that people don't experience that because that's definitely true. People do experience it. I think if you're a black woman, you probably experience it more than even a black dude would.
Yep.
That is 100% true. But the way she framed it, she didn't make it seem like it was like significant, like overt, severe race. It like microaggressions are like by definition micro.
Yep.
Like if you're not hiring white people because of that one little thing, I don't. If it comes, it feels soft.
Well, I
to
mean, they
me.
also said where they feel safe. So, I mean, are you going to work somewhere where you don't feel safe?
That's the part that actually made that was soft to me because it's your job, bro. Like, not to say you shouldn't feel safe, but it feels like instead of she wants to feel comfortable like she would with her friends, and
Okay.
that's not how a job should be. It should be there to work.
Do we agree with that? You agree with that, Ace? Your job should feel comfortable.
It's nice if your job is
Yeah, it's
comfortable.
ideal, but I don't think you
That
should
that
necessarily.
that shouldn't be the primary driving factor in your hiring practices, I guess.
I don't
Yeah, if you're
know
looking
about.
for a job, wait, am I talking?
Yeah, no, we can hear you.
Yeah, we
So.
can hear you.
Okay, my bad. If you're looking for a job, I mean, that can be one of your criteria in terms of where you want to work. But as far as hiring people, I don't know if you can
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, you actually make a very valid point.
force that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry, sister. I think the HR is gonna be all over you, like like flies on honey. I really don't see how this like you're on this Black Panther game. I don't know if you're gonna be on it for long unless you can somehow say this was a joke, hee hee ha ha. um, yeah. Yeah. I guess that's really just the moral of the story. I feel as if um, yeah. While we all have our ideal work conditions, I think we always have to remember that uh it's that old like weird expression of like how you don't want to become the thing that you dislike because I'm sure nobody or I guess I was gonna ask you guys, but I mean none of us have the answer. Maybe one day we'll get this young lady on the podcast. I would like to know if another company come out and said something similar, but obviously speaking again against black people, would they be okay with that? Are they okay with predominantly white organizations being like, "Hey, we want to feel safe, and we don't want weird interaction in the workplace. So we're not gonna hire black people." Would you feel comfortable with that? Obviously, all this is legal, but I'd be curious to know whether they do that. I guess the last thing I could ask, I think the wild part is that they are working for an organization, a company that's like this is like a big brand type of thing. This is like
Yeah, like
this is weird. But I guess if they were their own game, if they were their own studio, they were working out of their like basement. Would that make it legit for you all? What do you think, goes?
um
Like if they were
again,
just a small business owner.
if she didn't say this out loud, I'm I would be all right with it. The reason why I'm pissed that she actually said it is because like there's already enough back and forth in uh
This is definitely gonna
controversy
create more
over,
division.
yeah, like hiring practice in general, like the Rooney Rule in sports. Like what's the big one in, I'm like in regular jobs, I'm kind of like diversity hires, stuff like that.
Affirmative action and all that.
Yeah, yeah, that's affirmative action. So people already get bent out of shape about that, say that it's racist. And I don't believe that it is racist because, again, the whole reasoning behind it is that for so long, black people and people, certain ethnicities, people of color, whatever, weren't hired specifically because of their race. So they're trying to flip it and kind of get things balanced again. And it's still, hiring is still done based off of merit, but there's also an added thing of, if you maybe you wouldn't have been considered for this in the past because you're black, but now you would be. That's why I am for that, hiring practice like that. But this is like unaffirming all the arguments in that, and it's kind of like making the affirmative action in general just seem like so much worse and so unjustified. Because if this was the basis behind it, it's not justified at all. It really is not.
Hmm.
That it just makes whole thing in general look bad, and it shouldn't because it's one incident. But people will take this one incident and go 10 million miles with it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not a good
Like
look.
like me, I don't like things that cause division. This is definitely doing that. But what about you, Lisa? If they were their own entity, their own business, and they came out and said this, would it make it a bit more acceptable?
I mean, you immediately have to ignore the fact that it's illegal, and then if
Oh
like
yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. Take that out of the fact. Would you would you be more okay with it?
um,
And
I
actually, I mean, we're not business owners yet, but I don't. Maybe you do have to have a certain level. I mean, as soon as you have your LLC, are you bound to the laws of like you can't have unfair hiring practices? I don't know what size or scale like puts you in the category of what you have to obey like hiring practice laws. But sorry to cut you off.
yeah, I really, for me, like I really have a hard time putting myself in the person's shoes. Like, if you have had bad experience with people, certain group of people, still, if your goal in running a business is to have the best business, you want the best people. Like, I cannot imagine having somebody that's super qualified for the job and they haven't done any microaggressions in the interview and I decide to hire another person because of their race over their qualifications. Like,
Well,
you
that's why.
want the business to
Well,
be successful.
technically,
Like, at the end of the
technically, she
day,
didn't. She didn't say that it was like the other people weren't qualified. Like, if it was an example where people had the same exact qualifications, went to the same exact school, same age, but one was white, one was black, would you have a problem with it? And who
Dang,
would
you
you
beat me to my
hire? I guess
question.
would it make a
no,
difference?
no, but don't say it. I mean, obviously, don't say it out loud. But
So it. Sorry, I was
no,
just
go
gonna
ahead.
ask if it would really be a 50-50 for you. Like, would you have any type of preference toward the black person
We
if
getting
it came
canceled
down to
tonight.
it?
I'd flip a coin. I'd flip a coin.
Come on.
I'm flipping the coin.
I'm telling y'all right now.
I'm 100% flipping the coin. I'm flipping the coin. I'm actually flipping the coin. Yeah.
Dog. I'm telling you right now. I'm again. Not that it's. I don't.
Yeah, I think
work with white people.
Let's not say it ghost, but I think we know.
Yeah,
we know. But yeah, yeah.
You're probably the least racist out of all of us, I guess. Is the moral of the story?
I'm definitely walking away with that whatever any day of the week. Knock it off. I honestly I'm the most progressive like Israelite. That probably is this thing. But anyway, that's neither nor there. Yeah, I don't know if there's much more to say with this. Yeah, it's just a bad look. It's really like, I don't know. It makes me think. I don't want to get ultra conservative or bigoted, but like, it makes it seem like wokeism, like, wash your brain. Like, I don't know. It's kind of scary. But, the one thing I was going to say is, and that's why I was kind of pressing back on the comfortable part, because maybe for some people's views, in their view, the goal is not to have the best of the best, like ultra efficient, like detailed team. Maybe they just want a comfortable environment where they're comfortable. So you also got to take that into consideration as well. But I digress. If there's nothing else, we can move on to the next topic. Let's see if you know what the next one is. I'll be.
Where am I?
Oh, you're in the doc. I meant to post the doc in the thing. Dang, you're cheating, but yeah. All right, so this requires some context because this is literally just a full review. Salute to Christian Johnson, Christian Johnson Comedy. I definitely enjoyed this brother's Instagram posts. Honestly, I don't know if they always did reviews. They just kind of skits of like when people are making these weird ass concoctions that we're gonna do a topic on in Such Food podcast coming one day soon. Like you ever see like somebody mixing like tomato paste and bananas and like pancake mix and making like pasta pancakes. Like this brother's super funny. I should have put another one of their clips so you can see what I'm most known for. But they also do food reviews, and I don't know if it's safe to say food reviews is more of a newer trend. Obviously, salute to Keith Lee. I feel as if he's like the Michael Jordan of food reviews online. But also, it's always been a thing. There was that one UK kid. He ate the fried chicken. He was eating the fried chicken sandwiches. Or am I just talking? And then there's that one kind of scrawny gentleman. I think he's also from. I forget where he's from. He's always doing reviews too. And obviously, outside of the internet, if you go to the food channel, they're always doing food reviews to some extent.
Let's not forget Dame Drops.
Huh?
I said, let's not forget Dame Drops.
Exactly. So, yeah, this has always been a thing. I think maybe, like with a lot of things, maybe it's starting to be more of a thing that you can monetize. And, like, people are interested in this. So, maybe it's a wave. I don't know. Maybe it's always been here. But we got a full review. I forget how long it is, so maybe we won't watch the entire thing. And it's really not even relevant because I just saw this and this sparked an idea, but it also gives context. So, again, salute to Christian Johnson Comedy. He reviewed what do you say? Pratami Bros Restaurant and Bar. He'll say the name of the thing. Go play a bit of it at the very least.
Yeah, we back with another food review. We here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and it's a popular sandwich shop called Primanti Brothers Restaurant and Bar. Okay, they got good sandwiches and wings and all kinds of stuff. So we gonna try it here and we gonna rate it here. All right. So I got what's called the loaded cheesesteak bomb. Okay, now they come in 2 parts. They cut it up here. They put it in the box 6 inches. I'm hoping. And I like to get my cheesesteak with no onions and no bell peppers. Don't judge me, judge your mama.
Yeah,
and they come with some fries. See the fries here? They ain't too crispy. Let's see what they taste like. I mean, they're just fries, but let's just. Somebody. Well, what else? They must ain't had no salt in their cabinet.
Cold,
Cause Lord, okay, that's not a good start. But we're gonna see what the sandwich talking about. So you see
That's
here's a lot of meat.
That's a good point. Disclaimer: you don't like the sound of people chewing your ear. Turn it off. Go ahead.
Cheese, the bread is thick. So let's see what it's talking about here. And Lord, thank you for the sandwich, and hopefully my stomach don't be bubbling. Okay, that's really good. The bread is soft. The meat, yeah, this is a good sandwich. The salt was used on the sandwich and not the fry. Now this all right. I'm not gonna lie. This is a good sandwich here. Okay, I'm gonna go with about 8 out of 10. I'm gonna go about 8 out of 10. Okay, so now we're gonna try the wings. Okay, now the wings, I got the Korean.
So I mean, we'll maybe listen to the rest of it, but I think it was already this part in the video because this has also been a while ago. So I have to kind of recall why I'm even talking about this today. This is not just a regular topic. This is like I was scrolling and then my brain saw this and then I'm like, I got a couple questions. So based off what you've consumed so far, would you be compelled or moved to go try this restaurant? What do you think, Ace?
Yes.
Okay. What about you, Ghost?
I guess. This is like a real basic review, but the sandwich looked good outside of his breakdown, so I guess yeah.
What about, and the comment on the fries didn't dissuade you at all?
I mean, the fries still look pretty good, even if he said they didn't have.
He said there's no salt on them.
You can add salt; they look good. Just
you if you go to a restaurant, you'll add salt to it.
I mean, not usually, but if they're really unsalted, then
fair enough. And Ace, I know you like a good fry. The comment about the fry, you just roast that past it.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't get the fries. Probably try to see if they got onion rings or something else.
Fair enough. All right, again, let's play a bit more of it.
Korean barbecue wings. If you look here, it's a pretty nice sized wing. It's drenched in the sauce with a little sesame seed on there. So let's see what this piece of bird talking about here. Okay. Now this is a good wing here. It got a little kick to it now. That Korean kicking me a little bit. Oh. Now that's a good wing though. Like I said, nice size. The sauce is good. I got to go high. That's about a 9. That's a 9 out of 10 for wings. Look, if you ever in the Pittsburgh area, try the Primanti Brothers restaurant and bar. Okay, they got good sandwiches and doggone some good wings. Lord have mercy. Hey y'all, this your Uncle Nathaniel here. And
there you go. So relatively, because it's a character. Yeah, so relatively positive review. You know, you enjoy the wings, enjoy the sandwich, fries, maybe not so much. And I'm watching this, and I'm thinking to myself, he just reviewed this, and people are probably gonna go into the restaurant thinking that. But then you guys know the way my brain works. At the same time, I'm thinking, what if what if an alternate universe, and you know, I'm sure this is probably maybe happened before, or maybe they're conscious of it. They gave this all negative scores, like, hey, this chicken's dry, or this sandwich it doesn't have a sauce in it. Like that would literally like impact whether people just watch this for the entertainment of it, or now they're less inclined to go to this restaurant. And I guess the question really becomes, and again, it kind of maybe is indicative. It depends on whether my prior statement or like questioning of like whether this is like a newer or this has always been here type of thing, especially, you know, with the popularity of Keith Lee booming. Are y'all super okay? Are we all super okay with like these online food critics in reviews when they can literally have I mean, go to his profile page real quick. Okay, so 1.2 mil, and so millions of people consume this, and they might like decide to try an establishment or not try an establishment on the whim of this person creating content. Do we are we wholly okay with the fact that this is this kind of rogue system that's out there of people reviewing food from businesses?
Yo, wait a second.
Yeah,
I'm kind of confused because this is just questioning reviews slash criticisms in general, isn't it? What I don't
but this
understand what triggered it more than like this triggering it more than anything else.
yeah, that's a valid question. I don't. Even I'm not fully on like connecting the dots of like why this one in particular. It wasn't even that inherently negative, but I think it still begs the question. And I think the difference is a lot of these food critics, they're reviewing any and all restaurants. Like, I think the difference between like McDonald's or Burger King drops a new product and somebody goes and reviews that, because at the same time, because at the end of the day, McDonald's bottom line is not changing at all. But this is a relatively. It seemed like these people would be reviewing local establishments, and it's the same thing why like the Keith Lee thing is blowing up so much, and why it's become a meme of like when Keith Lee is in your city, y'all better like tighten up, like make sure y'all got the freshest ingredients, make sure the service is on point, like make sure everything is solid. Because if he comes through your city and he tries a restaurant and he feels some type of way, he's gonna go online in front of his millions of his followers, and he's gonna potentially be the reason why your restaurant gets an influx of people coming in, or whether it dries up and people maybe even slandering your thing. That's kind of what I'm honing in on, if that makes sense.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess based off that, what do you think goes? And if y'all can let me know if I'm tweaking, because maybe I am just like I'm raising
I
something
gotta
out of
be
nothing.
honest. You were 1,000% tweaking for multiple reasons.
Okay,
First reason being,
lay it on me.
I mean, this is literally like how advertising kind of works. Like, it's different than like a regular paid advertisement by the distributor, but at the same time, it's like the whole goal of like word of mouth and stuff like that is people try your food, people watch your content, people consume whatever they're going to consume. And if they enjoy it, they'll tell people about it. And if they don't, then either they won't or they'll talk negatively about it.
Right, and
And
I'm focusing more on the fact that it could potentially be negative, and the fact that it's also uncontrollable. Like when you think of advertising, you think of a business actively putting effort towards their advertisement. But this is like the Wild Wild West. There's no control of it. Like the person, I mean, maybe they give the restaurant heads up, but like any of us could go inside a restaurant and say, "Hey, let me get the number two," then walk out. And
when
if we had a bunch of followers, then all of a sudden that restaurant could either be damaged by what we say and or influxed by what we say.
bro, when you like, let's say we're walking around some random city after some event looking for a food spot. You look on Google, oh, there's a pizza spot X miles from here.
You're just literally
And
talking. You're literally talking about our experience, what we do. But okay,
yeah, and we generally will look at a review. I don't actually look at the reviews, but if there's a review under it that says this shit's trash, don't
I
eat
just look at
it.
the menu. Sorry.
That's fair. But if you happen to see that comment, even if you're not actively looking for it, if you come across something that says this is garbage, don't eat it, you're gonna be negatively dissuaded in some aspects, right?
I mean that's true, but I mean there's a difference between
So
somebody doing their individual.
okay,
Um,
you're
sorry, go
you're
ahead.
you're right. It is different. But my point is, odds are that if 100 people search that up, they're gonna get that same first review in some aspect because that's just kind of how Google works. And it might rotate for some people, but either way, if it's one person with a whole lot of followers, or if it's one random person but a
No,
whole
the
lot of
scale
people
does
see
matter.
it,
The scale does matter.
I don't. I guess it does in some sense, but
Like this guy is literally broadcasting their opinion to everybody in the world. Not the Google reviews is going to tell you generally what the people that live in that area think. generally.
Yeah, I mean, it could be people in the area, it could be some random person, but either way, it's a review. Like, I get that this dude doesn't have the credentials of like some actual food critic that goes around critiquing food, but it's just kind of like the common man's. If you ask your friend, "Yo, is this spot good or is it trash?" They might tell you it's trash, and
If
it
you
might
ask
not
them,
be.
is
It
the
might
key
be
word.
trash. It might be trash for them, but might not be trash for you. But in general, people are gonna kind of have the same baseline opinion about stuff. There's gonna be some people that are like you bugging or like your opinion is way different than theirs. But like in general, it's gonna be more or less like there's gonna be a baseline of is it good or not. And I kind of get your point about if someone gives a negative review, it can almost destroy a business. But don't be trash. Like
Jesus,
if
look at the
someone's
moral of
giving
the
you a
story.
bad review and they're not trying to actively sabotage you, it's happening for a reason. And unless they're like their senses are completely skewed from the general public, it's kind of like it's on you to make sure you provide a good product so you don't
So
get the
my
review in the
business gotta
first
go on.
place.
So my business gotta go under because on a random Wednesday, a famous TikToker went in my business and they didn't get the best, and now my business is suffering. That's what gotta
Yes.
go.
Yes, be
You
better.
don't,
That's
man.
literally how it works. This is how capitalism works. Is supply something that's in demand, and if it's not good enough to be in demand, then you're screwed. And if for some reason it was a bad
If you owned
day,
a restaurant, if you owned an establishment, you're totally fine with your business being hanging in the balance of random TikTokers, Instagrammers.
I mean, I'm gonna be providing good food, good whatever it is. So if I do get a random, it's like a random bad day where everything's hectic and the food they get is trash. I'm gonna go out my way to re-invite that person, reach out to them, and say, "Yo, that was a 1 in 1,000 experience. Usually, we're way better. Come back and re-review it."
So you're fine with kneeling down to these random food critics.
God said kneeling down.
I gotta beg for the guy to come back, please,
It's
please. Give
I
me
mean,
one more
okay,
second chance.
you don't gotta beg, but you gonna take that hit. Like I don't look at it as begging. I just look at it as good business. Like you have to reach out to the right people and advertise to the right people, the right clientele to get your business off the ground and gain popularity. And if you have to reach out to someone specific to do that, it is what it is. Like
The thing is, and I guess I'll hear what you have to say. Ace. The thing is, like before, quote unquote, before, because this I do acknowledge this has long been a thing. It would be the word of mouth of the community, and the community is gonna. You never that your community and your environment might have different tastes, so they might enjoy your quote unquote subpar food and culture, but then you have a famous person that's coming in and just completely showing somebody in the UK, in Ghana, in Asia, that my food could be subpar. Like that don't help me.
I mean, I don't know. You gotta like be better. Like
Yeah,
I don't
just be
know.
better. Be warned, be filled is what it sounded like.
That's kind of what it boils down to. Like if that's kind of the risk that you take. If you're putting something out there that a lot of people are going to consume and that relies on word of mouth and publicity and advertisement to gain popularity, then you got to take some good reviews with the bad. Like you go on what's the big review site Yelp that white people use. Go on Yelp, and if there's a
Everybody use
bad
Yelp.
review and the first review that pops up is bad, then you gotta do your best to either I don't want to say like pay him off and get it removed, but
Look what we're vouching for.
yeah, it's a little much. But it's like it is. I'm not saying it's super fair, but that's literally how this shit works. Like be better.
you are actually extremely right. Once you put something out into the world, you are opening yourself up for whatever review comes your way. I won't contest with that, but Ace, what do you think? Do you think it's acceptable that businesses could be at the mercy of these influencers? Think we gotta put a stop to this? Sorry, that's a bit dramatic.
Yeah, I think this is perfectly fine, and I'm pretty much wholeheartedly in agreement with. I mean,
What if going back? What
influencers
if going
and
back to this specific example? Their sales and fries goes down because nobody's trying to try the unsalted fries.
good.
Have better fries. Look at
Or
what
yeah,
look
make
what
better
Domino's
fries and
did.
then
Like have a rebrand. Yeah, like Ace said, have put it out there.
yep.
Our fries are good now. They were
Yeah,
trash
exactly.
before.
What if they
That's
weren't
how it
bad?
works.
What if they weren't necessarily bad, but now it's being blown up that they're not the best?
That's fine. You can still spin it. It don't
Yep.
matter.
You got to do something though. That's it's just how it works.
It's
Like
the free market, dog. Like what are
It,
we?
but the thing is, it's kind of beyond the free market. The market is whoever was your consumer. This is like people that aren't even your consumers are consuming the fact that your stuff isn't good.
I don't understand that point, to be honest. Like I don't understand why it matters if the person is a local or not. Why does that affect whether their opinion on the food is justified?
Because the scale of like who is being broadcast to does significantly change things. Telling like your cousin down the street, "Hey, I had a bad experience," is one thing, but telling millions of people from across the entire world, so that maybe when they visit your establishment or visit the city, they're either more inclined to visit it or less inclined to visit it. That's is a big deal.
So it's not that the person is not a local. So it's not that he's not a local to the place. It's that other people aren't local to the place. So other
Yeah, that's a.
people.
Sorry, go ahead.
No. I'm just trying to make sure I understand. So
Yeah, I would say that's
it's
a
just
factor.
it's yeah okay. I still don't get the problem, to be honest. Like
Which is fine.
because I like I maybe the problem is I'm not a business owner, but I think of this purely because I am a consumer like 100% of the time, and I use reviews 100% of the time to try to figure out, what if I'm gonna buy something, or if I'm gonna eat something, um, and just to like I don't know explain for food. Generally, I will look up the Google reviews. I'll look at the star rating and the net star rating, and also how many people review the place. If I'm trying to choose between one or the other, I
Mhm.
don't necessarily give weight like yeah, necessarily give weight to one person's review as opposed to looking at the aggregate if I do have that information. But at the same time, even still, I don't have a problem with something like this because with his review, like while he did say the fries are unflavored,
And then you guys said you might not
that
try the fries because of that.
yeah,
Well,
that
you said you would salt them, Ghost, but now that's crazy to me.
yeah, but that still gives people valuable information that's not necessarily negative for everybody. Like maybe there's people that don't want their fries to be too salty. He says this,
Yeah, you guys.
you get the fry sales. Like,
All right, you get some credit. You made me laugh. You get some credit. I mean, you're not wrong. Not everybody loves the saltiest fries. Some people do like a nice more blender. Okay, you got me.
yeah.
Um, like I said, I was willing and accepting of you guys coming out here and saying I'm tweaking. And again, this wasn't all. I think it was specifically I think I got to the fries part, and I was like, this guy with this big platform just said something negative about a business, and that's you know I think I think at the very least you do have to be you do have to be conscious of the fact that once you have a certain level of platform, you do have to be mindful of things you say. Do we at least agree with that?
Yeah, I agree. I do agree. Like, don't just throw out a um not an opinion that's not well thought out. But
Hmm.
at the same time, like I see. I see what this dude is doing as a service to people. Like, is it? And if it does become a widespread thing, restaurants just in general are gonna have to pick up their game. Which, again, that's good to me. Like, there's no
What they're
net.
gonna start doing is asking how many followers you got when you come in the door.
That might, maybe that's the thing. I don't know.
You
That could still be.
you got 100,000. Oh, here's the secret,
Nah,
man.
there's a skit exactly about that. There's a skit
that's
exactly
mad
about
funny.
that. It's hilarious.
That's mad funny. That's mad funny.
Yeah. Ultimately, this is kind of more so for jokes. I think, like you're saying, there's like the review system has long been here. People are going to read reviews in a way. I think I would say it's mainly the purpose is mainly for entertainment, but I think a lot of people do get value from this. And I think in a weird way, I forget which one of y'all mentioned. I think sometimes even if people say stuff is like kind of mid, I think that that does bring attention to restaurants, and maybe people will be inclined to try it out for themselves, like kind of type of thing. Especially if there's some type of theme or gimmick to it. So even if unless they completely shit on it and say, hey, don't go here, this was nasty, it tastes like dump. I think bringing attention to some of these restaurants does overall help, and I think Keith Lee actually provided some. I keep bringing that brother up, but he provided some like numbers. Like I think one time, like how after he reviewed a business, like it got umpteen more consumers, and he didn't even say the most positive things about the establishment. But yeah, like that's just an example of how it could still bring some benefit. All right, so fair enough. We'll let the influencers live for another day, and move on to the next topic if there's nothing else. Ah, yes. This is like the last kind of weird thing the thing that sparked the weird thought in my brain. So, Kanye. Or you supposed to just call him Ye these days. Anyway, he's doing his like rollout press run. He's dropping his second Vultures album soon, allegedly. To give the brother some credit, because obviously in this day and age when we're talking about Kanye, you always gotta like take a pause. He said he was gonna drop the first album, and he dropped it. So I mean, that's improvement on the Kanye that we know. So he just did an interview with Big Boy, I believe. Yeah, it was definitely with Big Boy, and I haven't consumed all of it yet, but I think it's actually a really good interview, especially in a time where we don't get many interviews from Kanye West, and sometimes when we do get interviews, he's wearing a mask. And he's talking about loving certain dictators that were famously known during the 1940s. So it's been really weird, some of the interviews that he's done in the previous years. But this one, he seems way more chill, way more mentally stable. But he did have this very, I don't want to say controversial view, but it was this very interesting view. Obviously, if you know Kanye, like, even with all like the my beautiful dark twisted fantasy vibes, it's being Christian focused is, I think it's safe to say, has always been at the heart of his mentality, his views, his music. Yeah, I think, and he's always promoting like Christianity. I love Christ. I love Jesus. So when you see a headline, Kanye West says he has issues with Jesus, you kind of raise an eyebrow. But let's hear exactly what he had to say, and let's see what y'all make of it.
I have my issues with Jesus. There's a lot of stuff I went through that I prayed and I didn't see Jesus show up. So I had to put my experience in this world, my experience with my children, my experience with other people, my experience with my account, my experience with my brand, and my experience with the level of music that I was dealing with in my own hands. Like a lot of times I just feel like in our society in America, people, Christians, we're depend on Jesus so much that we won't put the word in ourselves. And the main thing that really that I don't rock with is like, it's just always like, I'm gonna pray for you. And it's just like, you can actually physically do something yourself too, more than just pray. And we're so in this mentality that's all that needs to happen. But we ain't praying our way out of prison. We ain't praying our way out of the abortion. It is, but I have my issues with Jesus.
So to Kanye, you could already tell he gave all the instructions. Hey, I want an all black set. Everyone has to wear all black. I want a dim light on us. And yeah, obviously, we talk about a myriad, a bevy of topics on here, but at the root of it, we have the B1 and B Phil podcast. So I was particularly interested to know what y'all thoughts were on this type of topic. So yeah, and I'm sure we've all heard this type of not rhetoric, but this type of talk to some degree, just so like along the lines of like, having faith is one thing, but there is a world in which people rely too much on faith and not enough on the things that we can tangibly do for ourselves. And I guess there's more video, but I guess just even based off what he said, what do y'all generally make of it? We don't have to get ultra heavy, but in general, what do y'all make of the concept? Do you generally agree with some of the things he's saying? And also, do you think that's a productive way? And this question might need a bit tweaking, but do you think this is a positive way to look at faith? Just in the sense that like it's not harmful to look at it like, hey, I maybe even need to take a step back from not fully lying. I don't want to put words in it, but it kind of when you hear someone says, I take issue with Jesus, that kind of creates a negative picture of like someone's view towards faith and things of that nature. So I'm curious to know what y'all think. Start with you, Ace. What do you think?
All right. So
Is Kanye tweaking or not? No, I'm joking.
Oh, okay. I think that the issue, like starting off with saying I have an issue with Jesus, I thought he was going to go in a different direction kind of than he did, because he described things that to me aren't necessarily an issue with Jesus as much as an issue with people's perception of how they should be within the Christian religion. So for example, the first thing he brings up is saying he prayed, but things didn't happen for him.
Yeah, he said I prayed to Jesus, but Jesus didn't come to me.
So
that's his issue.
So then he had to take things into his own hands. But at the same time, he also talks about how like he maybe it's not what he said, but my perception is that it's not necessarily that praying without trying to put forth any action to affect or improve your own life, like without actually trying to do any work, is encouraged per se by Jesus. Like, so that's where I'm saying your issue is not with Jesus as much as an incorrect perception of how you should be within the Christian religion, as far as just praying and hoping everything works out. And then
so go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, and then like the example of saying, people say that they'll pray for people, but they don't come through with actually helping them out. Like our whole podcast name, Be Warmed and
Hold on. All gotta make him remember. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just like, clearly that's not the actual message, to just pray for somebody and not help them out if you can, like actually provide physical help. So again, like the issue is not with Jesus, it's an incorrect interpretation of the message.
That's actually a super interesting point. I don't want to go off too much on a tangent, but where do you think that stems from in society, where like some people will have this carte blanche like view of like faith is going to get me exactly where I need to be? because obviously I'm assuming it's still stemming from the scriptures, but as you're saying, as we
I
acknowledge. Go ahead. You can jump
I
in.
think it just stems from the general way that religion, in particular Christianity, is taught, and why I don't, or I understand why a lot of people don't believe in religion and don't believe in faith because of the way it's taught. Like from the Catholic perspective, you go to your confessionals, you confess your sins, and you're good. You do that every week, and if you again, I don't know the ins and outs of the Catholic Church, but essentially that's what it boils down to. And as long as you go to your confessionals, then you're good. And to flip it on the Christian side, it's you you get saved or you get baptized, and then by grace and by mercy, then you're good and you can go to the kingdom. And people just feel like they have free reign to do what they want as long as they go to church every week, as long as they go to their confessional, and there's no real onus on people. Don't pay attention to the scriptures where it says confess and forsake your sins. Like the whole point is you're not supposed to do it again, and the whole New Testament goes into grace and forgiveness, and that it doesn't give you a license to literally do whatever you want because Christ died for our sins. But that's a lot of people don't go to the read the ins and outs of the Bible because they go to church every week and the pastor doesn't go into that detail. Because why would people want to hear that? They don't want to hear that. They want to hear that as long as you're saved and you acknowledge that Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior, is how they like to phrase it, and he died for our sins, then that means that you don't have to change anything about yourself. You just go every week, you pay your money, you pay your tights.
So you would say
And
it's like a more easy or digestible message as well.
yep.
Yeah.
It's easier not to have to take action. Like,
Yep.
This is true. But the thing is, I mean, it's like, and I don't know if this is us admitting we kind of more so agree with Kanye, but like Kanye acknowledging like you that only gets you so far, and then what if you get to a point where you like hey, I'm praying and I'm having this faith that it's just going to work out, but it doesn't work. Like, what do people do then? Like, I'm assuming like everyone has lives where like you're gonna have some level of hardship or you're gonna have to do something. So, I mean, if life naturally is going to put you in a position where you can't just literally like have the faith and not do anything, then why would people lean on that?
Again, I kind of think that goes back to what Ace is saying and how it's taught, because I mean, this is it's a difficult thing to discuss because we don't know how the Most High looks at how your prayers are answered, or how, if you're going through something, how does that get resolved? And there's certain cases where okay, let's say you had a blessed life, you're a millionaire, you got a great family, you're rich, and then some stuff starts going down. I mean, Kanye's a pretty good parallel to that. Again, I know his life hasn't been perfect, he has a lot of stuff that he's been through, but compared to the average person, I'd say he's living relatively well as far as like monetary possessions go, stuff like that. But if you start going through something after you were blessed at first, then you start praying and it feels like the stuff that you're going through at that moment isn't getting addressed or resolved, then I do understand like that mindset where it's like, why isn't God answering my prayers? But that's such a slippery slope to go down because we don't know like how the Most High even looks at it. He could be saying, I mean, we all know the parable of Job where he was super blessed, had a whole bunch of shit go down, and he was really suffering. And in the end, he got it all back twofold or tenfold, whatever the scripture says. But he still had to go through that. And in the moment, well, really, almost anyone, it's when you're going through something, you're suffering in the moment. You're not really looking at, oh, I had 20 years of my life go by great, and now this past year has been awful. And that's not to say that it's a one-to-one scale, because it's not. But that's one thing that it's hard to keep perspective on certain things. And like, again, you don't know what the multi has stored and planned for you for the future. Like, you could lose your job, you're really struggling, trying to provide for your family, and because you lost your job, another opportunity opens up.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I it's really hard to like, because one thing that I do not like is when people, when you are going through it in the moment, you don't want to hear that, like, oh, this is all happening for a reason, like it's supposed to happen. Like, I don't like going from that standpoint, because you don't know the Most High designs is what it really boils down to. But
Mm-hmm.
again, keeping perspective on the things that you do have and the things you are blessed with, it can be difficult. But like, you shouldn't feel entitled, I guess, to immediately getting your problems resolved, even when you kind of feel like you should or you don't deserve it, because you don't know. Do you deserve it? Have you done dirt in the past that's coming back to bite you now? Like,
Well, we've all done, obviously.
yeah, again, yeah. The answer is yes. Like, we all have. Like, we're all sinners, and we all have done stuff that we're kind of, I don't want to say we're never going to be resolved for, but maybe it hasn't been resolved yet. We don't know that. So I think that's what it boils down to, but it's a lot easier to say.
Yeah. No, this is obviously all like relatively
Yeah,
like complex stuff. Like just the conversation, it was one thing, but the actual application, how it's gonna look like in everyone's individual respective lives, is gonna be another thing. I guess real quick, we can play the rest of it. I don't know if I have too much more follow on. You guys actually break that down pretty well, but we'll just listen to the rest of it. See if maybe he said something else controversial. I'm playing.
We ain't praying our way to get our land back that was always ours after gentrification, after the Harlem Renaissance and Black Wall Street was burned to the ground. Them prayers ain't working. We have to apply actual physical building partnerships, and it don't start unless we could really be real with each other and say, this is what I did, this is what I did. Like, I mean, look at this. I know I'm not gonna third rail y'all interview, but look at the power of what happened when me and Kyrie was on the same page. See, that's what's scary. But what they do is they put us each in a silo and say, your grandmother gonna lose her crib, and this gonna, you know how many threats we've been dealt with? And I didn't pray my way through them threats either. I had to get up and do it myself. I had so much to do, I ain't had time to pray. So that's where, that's what my issue is. And look at where I'm at today.
Show up.
We ain't praying our way to get our land.
I mean, like you said earlier, Ghost. I mean, obviously he's still in the 1%, but does everyone want to be what Kanye's saying right now? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the
I
funny
don't know if
thing
the I don't know if
about
the look at where we're at, look where I'm at today is.
yeah, like, it's kind of ironic and funny, because he said, look at where I'm at today, and that he kind of implied that he went through that rough period and he said he didn't have time to pray, and now he's kind of doing better. But like, this could have happened because you did pray, like,
Oh,
and you just don't realize it.
yeah, man, that's a
don't know.
that's a bar, man. Just because you pray doesn't mean you're gonna get it in the time frame you think you're getting it in. That's
Yeah,
absolutely right.
Scriptures about that too. But I mean, honestly, like, kind of going away from the negative, what he said that I don't fully agree with, he is correct in that a lot of the times people use prayer as excuses to not take action when they could be. Like, thoughts and prayers after a school shooting ain't gonna get it done, bro.
Man,
But like, there is a balance. Like, you can do things to change a situation and do it in a way that is scriptural, but just because you do it doesn't always mean that things are gonna happen in the exact way that you want it. So action does need to be taken in some cases. It's not just gonna happen by you sitting on your ass and assuming that it will be. But
yeah, the specific aspect about prayer is interesting. And I don't know if this is a more new age thing. I was listening to like a podcast recently or a stream, in which they were like having a conversation about like prayer and like the sentiment behind when somebody says I'll pray for you, and there was some negativity towards like it wasn't. They either believed it was not. They either believed it was disingenuous or it wasn't well received. And I don't know. Do y'all have any thoughts or have y'all ever like? I mean, you brought up a good example. It goes to like a time in which people say, we're sending thoughts and prayers, and we're continually seeing this thing happen, and it's a bad look. But like in general, I don't want to like we don't have to specifically look at ourselves, but if you were going through something, or if you saw someone going through something, and then you heard somebody say, "I'll pray for you," do you look at that like negatively, or is that even something to look at negatively, or like? Because it seemed like at this point, like you could have someone like Kanye who's like it seemed like they are expressing that with like it's not enough connotation.
I kind of do look at it negatively when if it's coupled with them actually either doing something to try to help you or expressing genuine sympathy, then even if it doesn't actually end up helping, it's it's better than nothing. But when people say that as just like a blanket rote, like when people say, "Oh, I'm sorry for your loss," and someone dies, and it's kind of like the same thing. It's like I don't want to say it doesn't mean anything or doesn't or it means nothing because that's.
Well, I think saying "I'm sorry for your loss" is just like
But
a genuine "Hey, I'm sorry." I think when people hear "I'm gonna pray for you," there is something that is not expected to be done, but they're saying they're going to do something, and I'm assuming
Yeah.
their hopes is that their prayer does reach the Most High, and there is some benefit that comes to that person.
Yeah, it's not a one-to-one because again, like you said, there's an action that can be taken, but the whole concept of it is like you're saying something that it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to change your situation,
Yeah,
but it's just like you're expressing it in the way that you can, that you you're trying or you're hoping for the best for them. But like you said, it's difficult because I know I don't want to hear from me personally, like if I'm going through something, it's like I don't want to hear either. Oh, you're in my thoughts and prayers, and if it's from someone that like I don't know or that
and that's real.
like they're just saying it to say it, or they'll say like, oh, it's just you. How do you know this isn't all part of God's plan? Like it could be, but don't say that shit to me because it pisses me off.
Okay, noted.
But yeah,
What about? Sorry, go ahead.
sorry. It's I didn't have anything important to say after that, so it's fine.
Got you. What about you, Ace? Are you moved one way or another when you hear people say, "I'll pray for you"?
Yeah, I don't look at it negatively. I don't think I definitely haven't ever in the past, and I have trouble.
You think people lean too much on that phrasing, and
I
or do you?
haven't seen it. That's the thing. Like I haven't seen it.
Mm,
Um, so I can't speak personally and say yeah, they definitely do. I haven't seen it. And I think like the examples that we're bringing up of someone passing and somebody saying yeah, we're praying
well,
for
if you had a friend or homeboy like Kanye, would you say I'll pray for you, or would you do something for him?
well, yeah, I mean I don't know, like the thing is what are you going to do, like especially when
Yeah,
somebody passes, that's pretty much all you can do is
yeah,
communicate that you're hoping for the best for the person, and that just means that they're able to work through their grief,
yep.
and just kind of get through like that's all I get when from that expression. I haven't seen it used in a way where it's like it's clear that the person is asking for something, for physical, monetary, whatever help, and
I see what you're
to
saying.
get this blase, I'm gonna pray for you. um the other example you said though, Ghost, what was it? If somebody,
Dies
oh,
and you
the
say,
yeah,
uh,
how you know it's not a blessing in disguise or
oh, that.
something like that. Yeah, that I can I would definitely I can understand feeling upset at that because it's like, yeah, of course, sure, but I'm not like I. It's almost like most people are already gonna have that kind of thought in their mind, but it's clearly not helping. So you repeating something that is obviously going through their head is not. It's not. Yeah, it's not. It's most likely not going to be worth it 9 times out of 10. Most likely not.
Um, you guys are right. I think sometimes don't people just say that as like a gesture to try to lift your spirits?
I mean, in theory, and maybe for
Yeah,
some
yeah,
people it
definitely.
does, but to me, it comes off as dismissive. Like you might be going through this, but it's gonna be for a good reason anyway, so you shouldn't really feel bad about it. And also, you don't know if
Yeah, you
like
do.
again, no
You
one.
like it worse.
Yeah, exactly. It's not even that. It's that's part of it, but it's like you don't know what God has planned. Like you don't know if this is for a reason or what the reason this is for. So you can't say that. And I don't know. Just I don't know if I can explain it properly. But
No, I definitely understand what I think people definitely understand what y'all are saying, and yeah, maybe it's something that people should like hold off or kind of reserve saying. I think it's one of those things that people are so it's kind of ingrained in like it's like when you have your Rolodex of things you can say when somebody's going through something. You got to go through the pain to like get to like the pleasure or whatever. I think people are just kind of used to saying that, but like I think you guys are kind of bringing up valid reasons why maybe we so hold off on that. Although again, what else do you say to lift somebody's spirits in times of like turmoil or distress?
Just I'm here for you, man. Like
Yeah, the
that's all.
tried and true. Are you going to be really there for them? Or are you just gonna? Is it like the prayer thing where you say I'm going to pray for you, but you don't really pray though?
Oh yeah, don't say it if you're not.
Yeah. Um. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I would say dope discussion. I don't know. The only takeaways from this, cause like I don't know. In talking to you guys, I think I I'm coming away with like a productive or positive view. But after listening to this, does this? I guess part of it is to like provide some level of like, well, this is he's kind of speaking on his own story, but like provide some level of encouragement for people to be productive in their wants as well. Don't just literally sit on your butt and expect things to happen. But on just like a faith perspective, and listening to this, do you kind of view it as they kind of have lost some level of faith in hearing this? And is that help a person in the long run? Or do you think they're probably in a space where they should to be, or they have that level of balance between having faith and doing actions? What do you think it
so,
is?
To
did
me,
you
it sounds like.
ask?
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead,
Was it
Ghost.
if me personally or us personally have lost a level of faith, or just you
No,
think
no,
people in
no.
general?
Hearing what Kanye is saying, did this sound like somebody that's lost some faith,
Oh,
or
okay,
do you think they are in a more balanced place?
got it. Okay, thanks.
If that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. To me, it sounds like he did lose a level of faith, and it is surprising to me that he's saying this. Like, however he phrased it,
He said
uh,
he talked to Jesus. And Jesus didn't show up to him from.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's surprising to me, like because I don't know. It seems obvious that yeah, maybe this is a me thing, but it seems obvious that it shouldn't be like that shouldn't be the contention with Jesus. Again, it's a contention with the interpretation, an incorrect interpretation.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, it sounds like he has lost a level of faith.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
What about you, Gus? What do you think about that, or any final comments?
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't, I don't know if I could say if it's a positive or negative because I don't. Maybe he was he didn't have the right outlook on it before, and now it's shifted. But I would definitely say that he has lost a significant amount based on what you're saying here.
Well, I mean, I mean, you guys summed it up pretty well and pretty perfectly. But yeah, I think the interpretation of the scriptures is definitely, or how you study and interpret the scriptures is definitely going to have a significant role in how you look at the dynamic between faith and actions. I think faith is an incredibly powerful tool, um, and it could potentially have some extremely positive and negative effects, especially if you are specifically like seeking specific outcomes. It can definitely damage your view on how things should and how it should go. Yeah, it's like it's like in the scripture that even people that don't have never opened a Bible in their day in their life, like faith without works is dead. Like we kind of just know that inherently. And that's not to say, um, yeah, and I never looked at that as negative. I know some people might, but I never looked at it as negative. So like the faith isn't still the super most important part. It just also like, you know, in life, we're all gonna have to do for ourselves, and we're gonna have to do for others if we really want to get to where we want to be in certain spaces. So I guess yeah, I think that's one of the biggest moral stories. If you have and it sounds crazy to say in the context of the scripture, but if you have a tempered expectations, I think that is gonna save you from the potential downfalls of having high expectations of how it should go one way or another. But yeah. Again, apparently this interview, I mean, even in some of these things where it can open up a more in-depth conversation, he's still kind of throwing in some of even when me and Kyrie backs up against the wall, and Kyrie's like, but I was just trying to play some basketball. Obviously, Kyrie did go through some stuff too, but like he's bringing up people's names. I think the interview was the monster. I think another monster. I think the interview was worth consuming, so I might go back and actually look at more of it. But if there's nothing else, we can move on to the next topic. That's the last topic. I think so.
No, unless you intended to delete the last one.
No. I mean, we're on the last one.
I got you.
Now here is a face and a name you may not have heard recently, but I'll say salute. Salute is Iggy Azalea. For all the 2.5 Iggy Azalea fans that might be disappointed by this, is Iggy Azalea quitting music? Rapper announced that she is no longer going to finish her album. Welp, if you're looking forward to hearing new music from Iggy Azalea, then you may be a little bit disappointed by this news. The rapper announced that she will be taking a break from music in a heartfelt address to her fans. She revealed that her passion for music has waned, leading her to make a difficult decision to not finish her forthcoming album. Let's see what she had to say. Spoiler, it's a lot. But they did do the very kind-hearted thing to say, this is going to be long. I'm only bother reading if you love me. A lot of people will
Can
make...
we keep it pushing?
No, stop it. A lot of people will make these rant posts and go on these long, like journals online when, like, nobody's reading all that. But here on this podcast, we unfortunately will be reading all that. Not all of it, but... They even go as far as say, if you still bother anyways, you're a weirdo who has been warned. How can you not, there are some people you gotta like their personality at least. Anyway. I've always been someone who finds my joy in being creative and seeing my ideas come to life. For a long time, I used music to deliver my big, crazy ideas to the world. I know a lot of people have this idea that I was bullied away from music. That's something I've always laughed at because I've never been bullied at anything. In fact, I'm too stubborn. I think I've even resisted changes within myself at times, purely because I don't like being viewed as someone who quits. In truth, what I've known for a long time is that I feel more passionate about design and creative direction than I do about songwriting. To many of you, that's a shock. It's no shock to read. It shows in my work. Haha. Joke aside, I do spend a lot more of my time on that. That's why I want to let you know that I'm not going to finish my album. It's been on pause for a few months while I was giving direction on a few different projects, and truth, I haven't felt the urge to go back at it. I feel really happy and passionate every day, or in my day-to-day life, when my mind's focused on that. So I wanted to stick to undeniably best in me. I can't wait to start sharing some of the things I've been involved with, covering career. I know some of my friends will probably makes you feel a little deflated. I'm sorry to let you down, but it's more important I don't let myself down. I hope you all understand. Talk to you soon. I love you. There you go. That's her. What else is there in this post? That's the end of it, right? Take a look at her hit songs. Okay, you can go back to the post. Yeah. So Iggy Azalea put out this long heartfelt post about how, her passion doesn't necessarily lie in music creation and songwriting. It lies in other places. And they are losing, if not lost, the urge to create new music or finish the project that they've started. And the reason why I bring any of this up is not to come in here and shit on Iggy Azalea or make it fun, even if y'all got jokes. I'm here for it. I'm more so interested in the aspect of, we have talked many times about like artists retiring. I think even Drake, even at some one point in time, like mentioned how he can like quote unquote envision a time where he's like moving away from music. And I think, since he's somebody that everybody loves, everybody's like, hey, I'm super sad about this, or don't do that. But when it's somebody who maybe wasn't the person that everyone loves, they are probably getting a lot of comments about how, hey, all right, well, good, it's time to hang it up. And that's an interesting dynamic in itself. But I guess I'm interested to know what y'all think. What do y'all think about this idea that somebody could really retire, especially if they make a post like this? Do you believe it? And is there any part of you that would want a certain person to retire if maybe you don't really have a high level of interest in them and or disdain? We'll start with you, Ghost. What do you think?
I mean, I was a pretty big Iggy Azalea hater. Not gonna lie, but I am more than fine with this. Not just because she's not gonna be making music, but one of the things pet peeves I have about artists, particularly rappers in general, if you decide that you're gonna retire or whatever, you're not gonna make music. A lot of the times, most of the time, it's a lie. But I I prefer that over you promising an album or you saying you're working on shit and it never ever comes out. So at least with something like this, like it kind of tempers your expectations to like not expect anything versus the flip side of, hey, a rapper might not have said they retired, but they're not making music, so it's kind of like a limbo state. And you're wondering if they ever gonna do it again. Where
You prefer the
with this,
clarity opposed to like, I'm just gonna fade out, but also so I might put out a teaser here and there.
yeah, yeah, that I hate that so much. So I'm if you change your mind after quote unquote quitting, I'm fine with that. Just make sure that when you do, you got some music to accompany that, and you're not falling into that same cycle where, oh, I've actually returned and I'm making music, and months go by and nothing comes out. So I'm not mad at this.
Got you. What do you think, Ace? After seeing this long ass post, do you would this make you, for when an artist says something like this, do you believe that they might be on their way to exiting? And would you ever feel like, hey, it's good or an artist should quit?
I have no well, I shouldn't say I have no reason to not to believe that an artist um would that says they're quitting will be, but
You say you have no reason to believe that they will?
that they won't actually quit.
Oh,
Um
but it's the concept that like if you're creative or you're an artist, it never really leaves you. So you're like you're never gonna quit.
creative as a former creative, it definitely can leave you.
Oh,
So,
sheesh. Well, whoa.
so yeah, I mean that's why I don't. I wouldn't necessarily put
It
it
got
past
real.
someone saying, yeah, I wouldn't put it past someone saying they lost a passion. Yeah, I got no reason not to believe that you lost a passion. Like it can definitely go. Um, and
Even if you had some level of success in it?
yeah, yeah, it can go. Like
Damn.
I don't understand how people have so much creativity in general. Like, so like because leading up to a first project, that's your whole like that could be your whole life's build up to some like an idea you had that you were able to refine and make work and put out something incredible. Following up on that is mind-boggling that so many people can do it. So for somebody to say, yeah, I don't got it. Like I had that one, yeah, for sure, but or maybe two or three, but yeah,
I mean, I'm no creative, but creativity is like it's an infinity sign. It's not like it's not limited. It's like it's uncapped. And it might get to a point where like you might get to a point where you're like Andre 3000 where like you feel as if there's nothing currently that you can really pull from that you can that leads to something you want to put out. But I don't think it just like goes away. Like we need West
It's
to come in this because I don't know if it goes or it can end.
yeah. I mean, I'm not a creative like that, but if you've been spending like Ace was saying, if you spent like 20, 25 years of your life building up to something, and you're slowly filling up that creativity
I actually kind of do
bar,
understand what you're saying.
and then you put it all out there, it's gonna take time to fill it back up again. Like it's
Hmm.
not just like once you have it, it's you can keep going back. Maybe some people can keep going back to the well, but a lot of people they empty it all in that one initial project.
yeah,
That analogy is actually kind of and I can visualize that actually.
yeah, and I don't, yeah, and I don't have, I don't wish like people would retire per se unless they're particularly grating on me, like, and I like they saturate what um just what I hear in general um then I might. But if they're not like if it's not somebody that's affecting me, I don't hear their music at all. I
You
don't
don't
got
want
that.
all these young female artists that are rapping about their you know what just to quit.
No, I'm not listening to it. So I
But because they're putting it out, you might end up bumping into it.
uh sure, I guess.
Fair enough.
But it's not.
In
Yeah,
this
it's
in
gotta
this
be
day and
something that.
age, I think people have a lot of control over what you consume. So I will give you that.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Especially if you're not. Well, I'm not trying to out you. If you're going to the club every weekend, maybe you have less of a chance. But if you're not doing that,
Yeah, if
obviously,
this was, for example, if this was still radio days, I was somebody that was liable to punch the radio. So,
radio days.
but
We're fake old guys. When there was no aux cord, there was no Bluetooth. You listen to the radio.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. With the level of control, streaming services and all that, you don't have to really end up consuming. Again, if you're outside a lot, then maybe. But even that. All right. So I mean, you're somebody. So all right. So this is just literally just chatting at this point. We're almost done. So if Iggy came up to y'all and be like, "Y'all, I'm not feeling that passion anymore. I'm not feeling that creativity. I'm thinking about hanging it up." You're telling them, "Go ahead, make that move." Or you're being like, nah, come on. You're not telling them to stop. Ace,
yeah.
what are you doing?
I'm like, dang, I feel you. Like, you had a good run. But, I mean,
I feel you is crazy. You say I feel you to Iggy Azalea is crazy. Or someone like, we won't say her specifically, but what about you, Ghost? What are you telling somebody like Iggy? With all the success, keep in mind, you telling them, they come to you and say, I'm not feeling it anymore, the passion's gone, the creativity's capped. What should I do? What do you're telling them to stop?
Do they make good music that I want to hear more?
That's always a subjective thing, but no, you don't. You're not fond of the music.
What's a slave driver?
I'm gonna tell them that you do you. If you're not feeling it, then feel free to just stop making
But they're asking you, what should I do? They're coming
question.
for you to advice. They don't want. They don't want you do what you do want. They're asking you, what do you think I
Well,
should do?
no, didn't you just say that they said that they're not feeling it and they want to take a step back, right?
Yeah. Are you gonna push them in the direction of, hey, no, you gotta keep cranking out everything?
If it's
or
bad music, hell no. I'm gonna affirm their beliefs and I'm gonna say, you know what? I think it's time. Just
what is
take
bad?
a long break, maybe a permanent break, because in
What is
my
bad
mind, I'm gonna
music?
think we don't need to hear any more of that. But I'm not gonna say that out loud.
What is bad music? Because like whenever I think of that, even though we know what bad music is, I think of the J. Cole bar that I'm gonna mess up because I'm not as good as I used to be at quoting rappers. I used to be Rap Genius on demand, but he had a bar in his record with Big Crit where he's like sometimes I feel like scared to put out music, but putting that song could help somebody or somebody could thoroughly enjoy that song.
I don't care about somebody. I care about me. If I enjoy the music, to me, it's good music. So if I enjoy the music that this person puts out, I'm a say, hold on, you're being a little hasty here. I think you should revisit this and maybe go back to the drawing. I'm gonna give them a whole lot of good advice. But if it's music that I don't like, I'm gonna tell them, you know,
Damn,
to chill out. You don't need to make any more of that. We good.
a man
Pursue
only after his own heart.
your other interests.
Yeah, man.
Know it.
There's one thing you gotta say about us: we keep it real, even if it makes us look bad. Fair enough. Obviously, this was a few months ago at this point, so or a couple months at this point. So and we haven't heard. I'm checking for it, but we haven't heard new music. So maybe they are taking that direction. Um, if you want some context, no, I'm not gonna give the context. Salute to Iggy Azalea. They had they had a run that a lot of people aren't gonna have, and they have a baby by Playboi Carti. I don't know if that's a W or if it has nothing to do with the price of rights to music, but
Wait, really?
yes, but yeah, I mean they've achieved success that like nobody, like only like a handful of people ever see, and they obviously are still able to, well, they can live off their previous stuff, and they seem like they have passions of other stuff, so or other areas, so it seems like they'll still be straight. Music just don't have to be it. And honestly, the music business seems like it's awful these days, this day and age. Like we were kind of scraping. Not, I'm not saying we, but there was this period where like we were scraping for good music for last year. So like I don't know, bro. Anyway, so Tiggy, I'll still say that. She used to have to defend herself so much. She was getting so much slander. She was a culture. They're saying she was a culture vulture, all type of
Dog,
stuff.
she got so much slander.
I'm
That
surprised.
what was it that the freestyle, the Lookout for Detox one with the where she was talking about slave masters, bro? That might have been the peak.
Yeah, she took a bar or a line from Kendrick's "Look Out for Detox" and tried to remix it. And Kendrick was saying something about like
He needs to put that track out. That's never happening, but
let's not. All right, that's when it's time to wrap it up. We're talking about unreleased Kendrick records.
dog, it was so good. It was so good, but besides the point.
Yeah. So again, so to have a blast. And with that, I think that might be all the topics. Hold on. Get rid of this. Then go here. Go here. And go here. Nice. I think that's everything. I might be forgetting something. Good discussion as always. Not good. We're a bit above good. Excellent discussion, actually. And like we like to do at the end of all our podcasts, what, if anything, are we looking forward to? You know what they say about having something to look forward to?
Real quick, before I talk about what I'm looking forward to, I can talk about something I was looking forward to that happened. I went to California this last week for a work
Which part?
Work summit type thing. Northern California.
NorCal, gotcha.
Yeah, outside of San Francisco. Um, yeah, for a work summit. So I primarily work remotely. Have been for quite a while now, and um, I mean, number one, it was cool to meet like my manager in person and a lot of people that I've been working with over the years in person that I've never um, met in person before. Um, but yeah, just in general, like being out in California was dope. Warm compared to where we are right now, but not too hot. It was the weather was pretty perfect.
What they
Um,
say? Women, weed, and weather.
um, and also I got some new rollerblades. Did I tell you guys?
No, you've been on the
Okay,
low recently.
gotcha. Yeah, yeah, I got some new rollerblades.
You were supposed to
Before.
hit me up. I wanted a pair. I wanted a pair after like the last case
Oh
you never had.
yeah, yeah. I probably would have, but I didn't end up going to the shop. I bought them online. I did buy them from that shop I told you about, but I bought them online. But
We'll get to it one day.
yeah, but yeah, I bought the rollerblades particularly because I knew I was going on this trip, and I knew I was going to be able to use them. So I was able to blade from the hotel to the office and back every day. Plus, like there was a the first night we went to a
Can you just imagine this relatively large black man rollerblading down the freeway?
It would have been cool if I had a group, but nobody else had any other forms of transportation besides Uber. So, um, but yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed myself in that regard, and yeah, I'll show the rollerblade since I have it right here, like Quest did before with his shoes.
Hey man, we ain't capping. We don't cap on here. We can show the evidence.
This is it.
Bring them closer. They look clean as hell.
Yeah, it looks pretty clean.
Yep. Um, yeah, they have these are the biggest wheels I've ever rode on. They're 100 millimeter, and
All right,
that
let's not get too into specs, bro. Come on,
they're
bro.
pretty fast. They're pretty fast. That's all
Like
I'll say.
we'll get the blade podcast going one day. It's no, not tonight.
Um, but yeah. So that was that was dope. And actually, I got back yesterday night, like late, so around 8. I got back to Boston, and
Oh, Logan. Ugh.
yeah, Logan. But yeah, I stayed with a friend last night into today, so I actually just got back home right before we started podcasting.
Nice.
But yeah,
Nice.
yeah, so
You
it's
been
okay.
you been having a little adventure. Nice. We'll probably chop it up later. Is there any other highlights any of the highlights or lowlights that were worth mentioning? We know you generally don't like the West Coast, but I think this was a relatively pleasant trip.
Yeah, definitely. I like it in doses. I could not live there to save my life, but yeah, in doses is fine. Um,
You
uh,
get some in and out.
I did not, but a super quick funny story is I had Denny's recently for the first time. Like
Ooh, what compelled you to do that?
Denny's a couple weeks ago. I was out late with a homie, and um, this was the only option because of how late it was.
That's typically why somebody would go to Denny's.
Yeah, and I vowed after that night never to go again. And
Oh dang! See, you're doing exactly what I was talking about earlier. Come on. What if now somebody's compelled to not go to Denny's?
They gotta be
no,
better. It
no, hold
sounds
up.
like
The story's not over because lo and behold, my manager he has like very nostalgic memories of Denny's from when he was younger, where he lived. They had a Denny's, and then it got taken away, and he was you know very upset about it. Um, so we found out that there's a Denny's like right by the hotel, like literally outside the door. You just walk across the driveway basically, and it's the Denny's. And he was super hype about going. So we could have went somewhere else, but we decided to go to 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 give him that experience, or allow him to have that experience and actually see if it was still good. And while I did not necessarily have the most amazing
It
experience,
was trash.
I
Why
had a
you
decent
why you gotta say race?
I had a decent burger anyway, a fine burger. And he still loved it. Like he was in heaven. It's kind of like shocking that somebody could have so much, so much joy in a Denny's.
I was gonna ask you, what do you even get at Denny's? But I guess you said you had a burger.
Yeah, he got. I got a burger. He got this thing called. I guess it used to be called the sampler, and now it's called the classic sampler. And he was like super hype about that. That it became classic status. It was just mad funny.
What?
And that's the one picture I have too. Is me, him, and my other teammate in the
And
Denny's.
in a
So,
Denny's?
That's
yeah,
the
yeah,
one. Oh
yeah.
my
Somebody
god.
got him a mug
God,
because
this
he liked the mugs, and they they asked if they were selling them or whatever. So he got the mug. And he was mad surprised, and like he's cheesing in the picture.
How much does this dude like Denny's? What the hell?
I'm telling you, like
You know, first slow down. I will give some grace. 'Cause I feel as if I would feel very similar about I don't know if I want to. This is like doxing, but they probably have them all over. I feel as if I stepped into a hometown country buffet, I would get hit
Oh
with the
shit!
wave of
Yo!
nostalgia, and then
Oh damn!
promptly after sitting down and eating the food, I would probably be filled with remorse. But
Bro,
my nostalgia might be able to fool me for a couple meals or a couple bites that this was like the best
there
place
you
ever.
go.
I
Yeah,
forgot.
that's
Nah,
it.
I don't think so. Because even when I was a kid, I was like, this isn't that good. Like it was
Hell
a
no.
limited. But even when you're a kid,
No,
yo,
when
I
you
forgot.
couldn't tell me.
Wow.
You couldn't tell me nothing about it.
I will say that it was some pretty good memories. Going there with a few people from the church, and making the damn root beer floats, the unlimited ice cream. I
Yeah.
forgot about that place.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
is
I'm not mad at that. The fact that that's the picture you got is the wild part to me. But like, I can't be mad at that because as y'all may or may not know, and we talked about this on the topic. I'm a more of a fan of getting a picture, or at least one picture, even if it's something kind of random when you have an outing, just so you have that memory for life. Like that picture is gonna now come with a bunch of memories about Denny's and mugs and all type of weird shit. Going to Denny's twice. So you went to Denny twice in what time? What time span?
I probably said weeks, but more like maybe a couple months.
Okay, all right. Because if this was like in the same like 2 week period, I'm like, ew, you might want to do a cleanse.
Look
But
at you! You doing the same thing you accusing him of.
listen, if it's Denny's, I don't
Taking
care.
shots.
I wouldn't care. I'm gonna keep it. It's like I'm always gonna shout this up, but I don't care. It won't even matter. It won't even matter.
Garbage.
Okay, fair enough. This was looking forward to, but I guess we kind of turned into a get off your chest. Any stories that anyone want to come in and share? That was super interesting. Yeah, my heart and my chest was already given out with the territory on the type of stuff. But if there is nothing else to get off our chest, is what if anything are we looking forward to?
More rollerblading.
Fair enough. I can imagine now that you got a new pair and now it's getting warm out. Sun's out, blades up. Got you. How about you, Ghost?
Low key, raise out, blades out would have been a little better.
Oh,
but
creative. See, we need to get you in the studio with Iggy Azalea. That's the problem. They don't have the writers. The writers right there.
I was a few concerts plan on going to. I will say that what you said earlier about the weather getting better improves your mood. I will say that's true because like when I was driving home from work the other day, I was like, why do I not feel like shit right now? I was like,
Jesus.
oh,
Look at the
I'm feeling
options.
in a good mood because of the weather. Go figure. But yeah, I guess winter, even though it was barely winter to be honest.
We had a mild ass winter. This is not the weather podcast, but that winter was
snowstorm.
easy, breezy, summer breezy.
That global warming. Yeah, I feel like it was something else, but I kind of forgot. So yeah.
Fair enough. For me, I got another show I'm looking forward to. I feel as if like once something goes like not the way I wanted, and that's why I don't like hype or like hyping stuff up. I like did it, but I'm ready to get my heart broken again. I don't feel hurry, but there's a Fallout show coming. I think it's gonna be on Amazon.
Oh yeah,
Prime,
that
if
looks
I'm not
pretty good.
mistaken. It really doesn't matter what streaming service is on. We're checking it out. I'm checking it out. I the crazy part, I've never even played a Fallout game, but it looks hype and not hype. Get rid of that. It looks dope, and I like the lore and or just the vibe of Fallout. That dystopian. Yeah, I always say like if I were to try to give a idea of what my favorite genre is, it's definitely dystopian vibes. So Fallout's gonna be it. So yeah, I'm definitely hoping. I think it's coming on April though, if I'm not mistaken. I might be totally wrong, but whenever it comes out, I'm looking forward to it, and we'll watch it and give a nice warm review about it.
Yeah, it looks good. Did you play Fallout Ace?
No, I never did.
I actually did when I was younger.
The old ones,
I
or more of the newer ones.
No, like mostly Fallout 3. I played some of New Vegas, but I don't remember the lore really. But the show looks dope.
Yeah, yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Do we do it? It's been so long. What else do we do at the podcast? I don't know. I'm probably forgetting something, but it doesn't matter. We do got some. Well, some of this is in plan still, so I don't want to gas anything up, but I want to have some guests coming on in the near future, and I'm going to chop it up with y'all afterwards about that. But yeah, so if you're looking forward to more voices like how before we had CJ on, I'll look forward to that, and just different ideas that are coming. The new year. Oh, not well, and actually, it is actually technically like the new year coming up. But if you know, you know. But yeah, some new ideas, some more voices, and yeah, hopefully the content improves and we'll grow. Always will. But outside of that stuff, we hope that by watching, consuming, even tuning in for just a slight peek to see us saying something dumb and or super intelligent, we hope that you gain perspective or that you learn something new, like the fact that if you are a Caucasian and you're trying to be a dev on the new Black Panther game, you might want to pull that resume back. Or we just hope that you find us entertaining. But if none of that happened for you, then all we have to say to you is be warmed and be filled. Good night. Stop recording. Oh, I missed it. Andre's tapped in. Thank you for stopping through. Oh, but you commented. Nice. Thank you, Ace. Okay. And yeah, nice. The stream went. Yo, this is like after the stream. This is like after podcast stuff, but like, I got on my cloud, whatever. I have 200 gigs. And I'm kind of. I think I got my first warning, like, hey, you're almost full. But I'm just a regular stoner. Anyway, stopping the stream now.